Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a freaky, fabulous, free edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party! It's another one.
Yeah.
We're back.
Yeah, I teased you. Did you hear me teasing you? I teased you because we are going to do another edition of something very special. But before we get to that, I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN Sheridan.
I am Larry STROTHE.
And I am James GONIS.
And for this episode, yes, the teasing continues. We
always tease.
I like to tease.
You're
I'm
a big tease.
I am.
Yes, you
know
are.
what? I like to lure people in and then kind of, back off. I want it.
I can't wait anymore.
Okay, well, here we go.
Come on. What's going on? What is this?
For our topic, we are going to revisit yet another favorite of our fans. This is one that is kind of a game, but it's also kind of almost like a trivia raffle. It's very special. And I think Sean invented it, if I'm not mistaken. But I love it.
I remember. I'll take credit for it, though. Yes.
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, maybe, but get to it. Come on.
So
Stop teasing.
The topic is topic free-for-all, the annihilation.
Topic free-for-all, the annihilation.
Now, we've called it the annihilation.
The topic is called topic free-for-all, the annihilation. Oh,
and we
my
call
God.
it the annihilation because we can't think of anything else.
Because we're just immature. That's why.
Yeah, and we're not going to annihilate the topic. We're actually might even do it again. But anyway, so that's what it is. And would someone like to describe what happens with this?
Sure. I would really like to.
Go for it.
Listeners,
since you're doing it.
Yes, for listeners who've been listening to us in the past, we have this really cool plastic skull that lights up. And we put little topics on a piece of paper, little Monster Party paper, and we fold it up and put them in the skull. And these are topics that, maybe you can't talk about for an entire show. They're like little topics, little
nuggets, little gems from the horror, sci-fi, fantasy world.
They're top-ettes.
Yes, and what's great, if you are listening at home, you listen to these questions and you respond too, answer along.
It's like speed dating. So you just sit down, you go through all these different topics with like Monster Party, and it's like, some might you like better than others.
Each topic is like a little lightning round.
Yeah, in a way.
But I like Sean's idea of speed dating, and at the end, it's like The Bachelor. We have to marry one of the topics.
Okay.
I like it.
We never did that before.
This is a fun thing, and typically what we would do when we got together, we had like some model or someone take these out, but because of COVID, I have had the skull in my possession. Yes,
we're going to trust you not to cheat and pick only your topics.
That's right. And I want to tell you something about that. But before we do, I want to find out who our wonderful guest is, because we need someone who's sharp, someone who
has the chops,
knowledgeable, someone who is, he's a man about town.
Yeah,
this is very exciting because this is the first time we've had this guest on for this topic.
He's perfect for it.
And he is perfect for it. This is one of our favorite guests to have on. We've had him on several times before. He is a novelist, a film journalist, and a screenwriter. He's written such films as Class of 1999, Trancers 3, which he also directed, and Trancers 6, Dr. Mordred, From a Whisper to a Scream with Vincent Price, Puppet Master 3, Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys.
The best.
He's also written novels, including Nemo Rising, a sequel to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. He's written numerous Western novels. And as if all of that weren't enough, he's also done countless commentaries on DVDs and Blu-rays.
Oh, my God.
I don't know where he finds the time. And not only that, but he made time to be here with us tonight.
Yes, he did.
Oh, my God.
Guys, let's welcome back our good friend, COURTNEY JOYNER.
COURTNEY JOYNER!
Oh, thank you.
Whoa.
I was so looking forward to being annihilated, and then came speed dating, which is annihilation of another kind. So I don't know, guys. The emotional rending here could be intense.
That's what we do. Yeah.
That's right.
We should have called this topic free for all the rending.
Yeah. It's a Squid Game of emotions. It really is.
And the funny thing about the whole Squid Game thing, so Courtney, just to let you know, I had the skull put in a very special place in our garage. If listeners remember this, and what happened is we had a leak in the garage, and all this disgusting water went directly into the skull. And I actually had to take all the questions out and kind of dry them out. And some of them actually have, as you can see, dried up mold on them. Can you see that? It's dried up mold.
Gosh.
But I've dried them out, and
It could still be a good topic.
yes, exactly. So
a little bit of green slime.
exactly,
Right, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is,
Gargantuan mold.
this skull contains questions that we did like 3 or 4 years ago that never got around to it, including some new ones. You know, so
Who knows what we're going to get?
Choose right.
Yeah.
So now who wants to pick? I think I always like to go with our guest first.
Yes, I
Because it
agree.
just seems like the right thing to do. So Courtney, I would say he's going to shake it up. And then when you want him to stop, tell him to stop and he'll do it.
And he'll do it. Okay. And now.
Here we go. He's picking
it's
the
a
topic.
it's a newer one.
A
It's
newer one. Ooh. What do we got here?
Okay. Okay. Strange as it sounds now, when I was a kid, I thought this entertainer was hot.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That is a good
again,
one.
strange as it sounds now, when I was a kid, I thought this entertainer was hot. Okay. Okay. This may sound weird, but when I was a kid, do you guys remember the Lost Saucer? And
Oh, yeah.
it was Jim Davis and
Buzzy?
Ruth Buzzy. I thought Ruth Buzzy was hot.
Wow. That's
As a kid, you know.
You know what though? In your defense, on Laughing, those interstitials with Goldie Hawn in the bikini dancing.
right.
There were some with Ruth Buzzy also in the bikini,
There sure, yes.
painted up and dancing. And
Yeah,
I
nice
mean,
body.
she looked pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what I love about her is that you get role playing, you know? You know what I mean? You get her in the bikini and she's dancing. Next thing you know, she's in an android costume with Jim
Yeah.
Neighbors.
Yeah,
You
remember
know,
that
she's
thing?
a little old lady smacking you with a bag.
But see, that's a funny thing. See, I always thought Jim Neighbors was so reserved. He never thought about sex, but I thought she did, or so, I don't know.
Oh, he did. Oh, he did, Larry.
Busy singing "Oh My Papa" and all that stuff, you know.
Wow, that's interesting.
Somebody
though.
needs to quick look up, because I don't want to misspeak here, but I met Ruth Buzzy at a party. She could not have been nicer.
Really?
And now there were a lot of actors and actresses at this thing, and I believe Ruth Buzzy was married to the actor Felice Orlandi. You know who that is?
Felice Orlandi.
no.
Felice Orlandi is the gangster who gets his head blown off with a shotgun in Bullet in the hotel room.
Really?
Oh.
And he's in all the Walter Hill movies, and he's in the Long Riders and the Driver and all that stuff. He starred in Killer's Kiss, Stanley Kubrick's movie. I believe
Okay,
that is
sure.
her husband.
Wow.
I think that's right.
Actually, I'm looking really quick right now at her bio. Hold on, and it says spouse Kent Perkins,
Passed one.
Basil Peter Keiko, divorced. Maybe they just don't mention
Okay,
it.
well, I'll tell you who else was. Alice Ghostley was also at this party, and so she must
I
be.
love Alice
Wow.
Ghostley.
Now we're talking about my special one, you know?
Well, yeah.
You
How
know
about
what?
you guys?
Anybody who played a Mrs. Kravitz, I had a thing for. It's that, it's just something that's hot about that little busybody peeking in your window. Like, ooh, what is he doing? Are you doing witchcraft? Witchcraft
Yes.
of a certain kind. Come on in.
Courtney, you're right. It was Alice Ghostley married
It was
to
Alice
Felice
Ghostley.
There we
Orlandi.
go.
Yeah.
They were both
Wow.
there, and so I wasn't sure who was there.
Hey, man.
Wow, what a party, man! It was-
I'm still thrilled that you met Ruth Buzzy. That is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty
she
cool.
was great.
She
Yeah.
seems like she would be
So,
great.
So, but
Yeah,
anyone else, guys, when you were a kid, you thought this entertainer was hot?
Are you talking like an older person, like an older woman, or?
Yeah, like when you were a kid.
Who wrote it? It's not mine.
It's not mine either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've said it many times. Marcia Strassman, who played Mrs. Cotter, Welcome Back, Cotter.
Oh yeah.
But you can understand though why now that you would still be attracted to her, wouldn't
but
you?
As a kid, but I mean, as a kid, I was too. Is same with Jan Smithers from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I was way more into her than Lonnie Anderson.
Of course.
I mean, so much. She was more real, and like she was.
You could hang with her,
approachable and accessible. I mean, Lonnie Anderson was beautiful, but she was like this, like unreal Barbie doll. Yeah.
So it's like Marianne versus Ginger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And even I would say Joyce DeWitt over Suzanne Summers. I just thought she was super cute, and I could hang with Joyce DeWitt. It was always more like the underdog actress in a way that wasn't presented as the gorgeous, there was one, this is sort of a weird roundabout way of talking about this topic, but so Carol Channing, we all know Carol Channing.
Oh, yes.
Throughout my youth, I didn't really think of Carol Channing as super sexy. I just didn't, with the voice and everything. And then I saw Skidoo.
Yeah. I see what you're talking about.
And she's like taking her clothes off, and something stirred in me a little bit. I was like,
well, she's almost like has a see-through blouse at one point.
Yeah. Wow. And I was like,
it just sticks out to you. Like, come on. Like,
and I was impressed, and it changed my view of her forever. So I think that's sort of the reverse of this topic.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Otto Preminger.
Yes,
right.
Always thank you.
That's right.
Otto
James,
Preminger.
James, what about you?
Well, I oddly enough, Shirley MacLaine back then. Because she was,
come on.
No question. Young Shirley MacLaine was smoking hot.
She was smoking, and she was always on these variety shows dancing in these leotards.
Yeah, oh my God.
So
fit.
And then Barbara Streisand specifically in The Owl and the Pussycat, where she played a hooker, and it's like this side of her you never saw before.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm like 13. I'm like, wow.
I would say that would be the only movie though where I had that kind of feeling towards her.
I you know what? I will say also, What's Up, Doc? I think
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Pretty sexy in that too.
That little window of like, okay.
Yeah, she looked better in What's Up, Doc than I think anything she ever did before.
She did look great in that.
Yeah.
What about you,
She's
Courtney?
just adorable.
Did you?
Yeah, Courtney.
Well, I mean, I was kind of a traditionalist, so Marlo Thomas and Mary Tyler Moore. But young, I don't know why, I just got completely obsessed with Barbara Stanwyck on The Big Valley.
Oh, really?
That's
interesting.
And also, I was going a little older. I am Joan Blondell on Here Come the Brides. That was
Is that right?
Oh,
yeah. Interesting.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a good double feature.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice one, guys.
That's
Okay.
a great one. Yeah.
Whose topic was that? Do we know?
That was James.
That was
James.
No, that was great, James.
Okay, Sean, you want to pick one?
Okay. All right. Stop now.
Okay, this looks like it's a medium one.
Okay.
What's that mean?
It means it's not a moldy one.
Oh,
it was probably
Got it.
done like one of the last two times.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
Okay, this is most underrated horror sci-fi acting performance.
Horror,
Underrated.
sci-fi, horror or sci-fi.
It says
acting.
horror acting performance.
God, that's so hard.
Most underrated.
Underrated. I'll bet Courtney, you have one right off the bat.
God.
Like people will throw all kinds of accolades at, let's say, Anthony Hopkins, for Silence of the Lambs. But is there somebody who's who's the guy who played the Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs?
Sure.
Oh, Ted Levine?
Yeah. I mean,
Ted
I
Levine,
think
yeah.
I think he's underrated. He is underrated. I mean, everyone thought it was creepy, but he didn't get the accolades that Anthony Hopkins did.
I mean, if you're going down that particular road, the actor who, Brian Cox's Hannibal Lecter is, to me, so much more terrifying than what Anthony Hopkins did.
Oh, in Manhunter?
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
He is great.
no.
No,
No,
I do
Courtney,
love
no.
him. I
I
do love him.
disagree.
Great, though.
I disagree, sir. I'm sorry. Because I don't want to, I'd hate to disagree with you. But I saw Manhunter. My wife and I, we watched it because we were all excited. And granted, we had seen Silence of the Lambs first.
Mhm.
So when we saw this, we were just,
You're a little tainted.
yeah.
But I agree. I think that he's great in that. I mean, everybody thinks, you're right. Everybody thinks now of Anthony Hopkins, but Brian Cox did it first, right?
Mhm.
And he's great too. I think it is a great performance. I mean, you're right. Not enough people bring that up so I do think that's underrated because it's stamped with like Anthony Hopkins all over now. But that's a good one.
Hey,
like that.
I've got two. I've got two really quick ones.
Okay.
Okay. Whit Bissell in, first of all, everything,
Yes.
but
Yes.
specifically
Yes.
the I Was a Teenage double feature. I was a teenage werewolf. I was a teenage Frankenstein. In both those movies, he's great. I mean, he is so solid in his performance that it roots it in reality and makes it work, I think. I think you can't, those movies wouldn't be anything if it weren't for him. In my opinion.
He makes a great scientist. And even when he's not the main scientist, like in Creature, he's a solid guy.
Yeah.
He's a solid scientist
good.
in that.
Yeah, that's true. I like that.
Well, for just your general AIP, probably golden acting performance, certainly in the 50s sci-fi stuff, Glenn Lang in The Amazing Colossal Man, to me,
Sure.
still
Yes.
does not get
Oh,
I
the props.
agree.
good.
That is a great performance.
You're right. You're right.
100%.
People look at it as like this schlocky 50s sci-fi movie, but that's a good performance.
No, that's a
It really
great.
is.
That's a great choice. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, sir. I agree.
Oh,
Now-
but
now-
wait a minute. Can I throw in my other one real
Oh,
fast?
I'm sorry, Matt. Yeah, please.
Just my other one was Ralph Bates in
Yeah.
Taste the Blood of Dracula.
Oh,
Good one.
Oh my God. That scene in Taste the Blood of Dracula, where you've got Ralph Bates, Roy Kinnear, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Keane, Peter Sallis, John Carson when they're buying, the
Yes, right.
the casket of all
Yeah.
Yes.
it's fantastic. Those guys they're so serious in their intent
Yes.
and the way they put it across. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I agree.
And the
Absolutely.
way that Ralph Bates manipulates them and lures them on and brings them to
Yeah.
this place that they really don't want to be in. He's just wonderful. And what's interesting about that movie is that it kind of goes downhill after Dracula arrives. But I still love it. But I'm just saying the buildup I thought was certainly as enjoyable as the Dracula stuff, because when Dracula shows up, it's like the first, the second,
It's that one.
Right.
It's that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
still,
I
Linda
still
Hayden,
love it. I still love. Yes, of course.
Oh, Linda Haynes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You drink the filth.
That's a great quote. Okay, here's one that this is a movie that I think we all love, and it's known because it has a fantastic central performance by Vincent Price, and that's Witchfinder General. But I would say Ian Ogilvy in that is also great because he's the guy in the middle, where his girl is captured by Vincent Price. And isn't it Ian at the end? He was like, they kill Vincent Price and he wanted to get to him. He's like, you killed him before I could or whatever. And it was like this, like he was so vengeful.
You robbed me. Yes.
Yeah.
Robbed me.
But I just think he's good. Yeah, I always liked him as an actor.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good now. I mean, Vincent Price is amazing because it's one of his most understated performance, which Michael Reeves fought to make him do, to rein it in a bit and not chew the scenery. And he's great and super chilling. But I think everybody in that, Rupert Davies and a lot of good people in that movie. But
Patrick Weimar.
Yeah. And but I think Ian Ogilvy is really good at that.
That's another great choice.
That was, but wasn't with Price. I mean, that was the whole thing that Michael Reeves let him know immediately that he didn't want him in the movie.
I didn't know that. I know that they.
Oh yeah, he told him straight out, "I didn't want you. I wanted Donald Pleasance, but AIP is forcing me to use you."
Interesting.
Wow.
Why would you do that? Why would you say that?
Well, I think that I'm sure he was being sincere, but I think he was thinking in terms of price and the oblong box and all these films he had done recently that he despised.
Mhm.
And he kind of blew his way through, the Gordon Hessler pictures, although I really do love Scream and Scream Again.
Yeah,
And, I think it was kind of a manipulation, quite honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah, to get him to, right.
Yeah. To not wiggle his eyebrows and do all that stuff.
Right.
And,
Challenge him.
and he's brilliant in the movie, but I think that was, it wasn't a very nice thing to do, but I think there was a purpose behind it.
Yeah, it's like when you're freaking shooting a gun next to a guy's ear to get a good performance out of the priest guy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's a guy. Wow, that's interesting though.
Anyone else?
James?
This is actually sort of the title character, but I would mention Jonathan Scott Taylor from Damien Omen 2, because you've got a child actor who doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yes.
He's good. He's good.
He's very good.
He carries this balance of, he's got this intensity, he's got this power, but at the same time, he's an adolescent who's learning who he is. And he's also got moments of, potential self-doubt and uncertainty. And he carries all of that with a kind of a balance. Now, it's not, obviously it's not a great film, it's not a deep film.
I disagree.
I think for him, I think he really helps it.
In fact,
he pretty much carries it more than William Holden does.
There's that moment. There's the moment that is so, and it's so funny, James, that you mentioned that, because my daughter and I watched this about like 3 weeks ago, and she loves the film, and we were commenting on this kid's performance. And there's this scene when he's in the woods, and when his cousin, who's been raised as a brother, realizes who he is, and they have this great moment where he goes, "Come with me, Mark. I love you, Mark." And it's such a powerful speech, and he's so passionate. And I don't know, I mean, he's not an experienced actor, but it's such a great performance.
And you know what? He actually makes a better Damien than Sam Neill did.
Hands down.
Sean, I agree with you.
Intense.
Yes.
Well, there's that scene too where he finally finds out really that he's the Antichrist.
Right.
And he's appalled by
he's shocked. He can't deal with it. He goes, why? He runs out to the as far as he can and yells, "Why me?" But he's got this great speech. It's a great speech. I agree with you, James. That is an excellent choice.
And I looked him up. Apparently, he went into real estate. I don't think he's acting anymore.
Really?
No. And now, if there's now, guys, bear with me. If there's anyone if there's anyone who I would love to see at an autograph show, it's him. And he would clean up. I swear to God.
Yeah. Sell a lot of homes too, I think.
Lot 666.
And if anything, if that movie taught us anything, it's like who in their right mind would name their kid Damien? Okay, so my daughter and I talked about this. No, my daughter says, "Daddy, there's a kid at school. He's named." I go, "What?" And she goes, "Damien." I'm like, "You're kidding!" And I go, "Are his parents idiots?"
No, it's kind of a cool name though.
It is. I think
cool.
now
well,
it's super
but
cool,
then when you meet the kid, it's like, "Hi, I'm Damien."
No, that's you meeting the kid. Making this poor kid feel bad about his name. Oh, are you the Antichrist? No, my name's Damien.
Oh, that's the Antichrist. Oh, where's the 666? Oh.
Now, anyone with the last name Hitler, I feel sorry for.
You don't see a lot of Hitlers walking.
No.
right.
Well, this is great. Okay.
I like that.
All right. So what do you guys say I choose now?
All right, do it.
Okay, I'm picking out. Okay, this is a new one. Favorite non-horror role of Vincent Price.
Oh, interesting.
Now, wait a minute. I have to ask a question then. Would that be, could you go thriller?
Yes. I guess
Well, this is
genre.
Yeah. Well, I didn't write this. I think I know who wrote it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna even go away from even thriller.
I'm gonna say my favorite off the top of my head was him on the Brady Bunch. When he's And what the funny thing is, so the kid, if you remember, the kids they go to this cave and he actually traps them and he ties them up. It's my God, he kidnaps them, and then as we get to the end, he goes, "Oh, I really was just trying to scare them. I didn't want them to." And it's like,
doesn't he have an imaginary friend too?
Yes, Oliver is. It's one of the
right.
statues. But in this day and age, if anyone did what he did, he'd be doing time. He wouldn't be having a luau with all the Brady kids. But you know what? It was a simpler time. And
so non-horror.
That's what it says. Non-horror. Vincent Price.
So it could be science fiction.
Well, for me, in that case, I would have to say Dr. Goldfoot.
There
Because he has whatever you think about those movies, he's having tons of fun.
Yeah,
at least it seems to me. He's what makes those movies watchable.
Yes.
And yeah, I would say that. And also he guest starred on an episode of Ellery Queen as a director whose cast were being killed off. That was also, I'd say, I like that. But yeah, I mean, really anything he's in, I like. I like him in pretty much everything. But yeah, Dr. Goldfoot, I want a Dr. Goldfoot action figure. Where's Brent's dolls for that one? But
Brent's dolls.
Shoes. Yeah, come on.
It'd be a two-pack action figure. Come on.
Yes. I'll be like a 2-pack with like Dr. Goldfoot and Susan Hart in the gold bikini. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Courtney, what about you? What do you
got?
Well, I went kind of far afield. I would say really favorite non-horror performance for me is Vincent Price in Sam Fuller's The Baron of Arizona.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know that.
It's a Western.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like what year?
At 19, I think 50.
50s. Okay.
And he's wonderful in that. And also back in his 20th Century Fox days, everybody, of course, points to Laura. Brigham Young, Frontiersman. He is fantastic in this movie. And Dean Jagger and John Carradine. He's incredible.
Huh.
Wow.
And so this is all before Leave Her to Heaven and, all that stuff where he got good. Now, TV performance, it's brief, but I love him in the episode of Columbo where he plays Vera Miles' competitor in the cosmetic business. Yes.
They're very bitchy. He's like her rival in the cosmetics industry. Right. Yes.
Sean Barbara Allen is his secretary and Vera Miles kills her and everything. Yes.
Yeah. That's a great episode too.
Oh, I have to see. I don't remember that one.
It's called Lovely but Lethal.
Yeah. Martin Sheen is in it too.
That's right. He's the victim.
He's the victim. Yep.
Yeah. Vera Miles kills him with a microscope.
Don't get me started on Columbo, man.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, you could argue that this is kind of a horror movie, but most people don't think of it as a horror movie. The 10 Commandments.
Sure.
He's great in that.
That's right.
He plays the architect. Isn't he the architect? He's the architect of the city, and he has this girl who's going to come to his place or whatever, and it's the girlfriend of one of the stonecutters, and he tries to break in, and Vincent Price catches him and goes, "I would have given her back to you, and she would have been more worthy of you." He has these great lines, and he's like so fiendish, and that's a great one, Matt.
That's a great movie. It really is.
Yeah.
And I would also throw in Egghead from Batman.
Totally. Yep.
Recently, this Christmas season, on streaming, they had the very, very old TV adaptation of A Christmas Carol that was hosted by Vincent Price.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so, it was before he became a horror icon, and he's just, sitting there sort of reading or, introducing the story. And it's just different. And it's kind of cool that he's in it. And that's sort of the selling point of the thing. It's extremely slow paced. The credits alone seem to take forever. It's like, it was a different time. They had a lot more patience back then.
Cool. That's a good one.
Another winner.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's next?
Okay. Who's next?
Is it me?
Is everyone?
Matt, Matt.
Oh, okay. So Matt.
Let's do it. Okay. Here we go. Round and round and round and stop.
Oh, it's a moldy one.
Oh, I was hoping for one of the moldy ones.
An oldie moldy.
And
moldy.
It is. It's a
moldy but a goodie.
I think this is your writing. I'm not entirely sure.
My writing? Is it like a 4-year-old? Then yes.
It is. The question is, what canceled TV show do you wish had at least one more season?
Oh, God, that's tough.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I got to think about. Well, I mean, I know one right off the top of my head, and there was a show called American Gothic.
Oh yeah.
It was created by Sean Cassidy.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
And it was really cool. It starred Gary Cole, and Gary Cole was basically, imagine if the devil was Andy Griffith. It's like it was like this small town, and he's the sheriff, but he's the devil. And so you know how like Andy Griffith would, not carry a gun, and he could just talk people out of doing bad things.
Right.
Well, this guy comes in and like puts a curse on you, or just threatens you in a supernatural way, and just ruins your life. And Gary Cole is so good in this and so creepy. And it was, I think, really the first time I had ever seen Gary Cole. I know he did Midnight Caller.
Midnight Caller, right.
Yeah, which I had not seen. So
Right.
I loved this show. It had one season, and it was terrific. And it was one of those shows where I really felt it was building to something, but it came at the wrong time.
Was it just one season?
It was just one season. I have them on DVD.
Yeah, we got them too.
And I really enjoyed them. And
Yes.
American Gothic, I felt, was really building, and it had this arc that you never got a satisfying end to. And I would love to have seen where they went with it.
Right.
Well, for me, this sounds weird because it had 3 seasons, but look, classic Star Trek had 3 seasons. It was canceled after 2, and they were able to bring it back for another 3rd season. But I've always dreamt about, they were supposed to have this 5-year mission. What if they had at least one more season? And I always wanted to have them kind of finalize the journey. If they did it at the end of 4 years, where they come back and they go, wow, that was a great journey, and where's everyone going off to? And Sulu says, oh, I'm going to go to captain's school, and Spock says, I'm going to go here. How they all kind of like at the end of MASH, how they all just kind of go their separate ways. I wanted that for classic Star Trek.
Wait a minute, you wanted a Star Trek after MASH?
Not after MASH. No. Like at the end of MASH. At
like
the
Kirk,
end,
like leaves like in space, these big floating letters, goodbye.
Yeah.
For Spock to see, and he cries.
Well, okay. See, Sean's trying to make a joke here, and at my expense. But it's like, no. I always thought about. I would have liked to have seen that one last season where they tried to do some things that they had talked about doing. Like I think there was an episode where they came to a planet where they would only listen to Uhura, and so Uhura had to act like the captain. I thought that would have been a great episode for her. And there were a bunch of other things, some ideas that were thrown around at that time they never got to do.
So with or without Fred Freiberger?
I don't think it really matters. I'm just saying
think it does.
Well, Matt, all I'm saying is I would have liked another season of classic Star Trek. There.
No, I agree.
Happy?
And a lot of people cite the animated series as the fourth season.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of does work pretty well with that. Yep.
And then as a side note, let's call it as it is. Battlestar Galactica. Look, I was so excited. They did that first season. I know, Spotty and stuff. I would have loved to have seen a second season. They were saying, hey, it's too expensive. And then they gave us that horrible Galactic 1980, which I absolutely despised and hated. So anyway, anyone else?
Well, I would say I have 3.
Okay.
My first one is the obvious one, which still one of my favorite one of my favorite shows ever of all time. I'm sorry, Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
I could have watched that show for 5-6 seasons. And it was on the same night as the Planet of the Apes TV series, which is also one season. And even though it's not a great show, music, oh my God, I could have watched that forever.
And we're hoping that they could have these following seasons
could have gone and do some like arcs with the stories.
Yeah.
And also, I still love Jerry Anderson's UFO. And while I did like the first season of Space 1999, I would have preferred another season of UFO, and I think that was the intention at the time.
Yes, it was.
But then they made it into a different series. I think it was UFO is a far better series to me than Space 1999, and I would love to see that continue. So those are mine.
Yeah,
Courtney,
that was
what
like
about you?
UFO was
Oh.
almost like it had an Avengers feel to it. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It was just, it was cool and badass.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, first, absolutely, thank you, Larry Cohen, The Invaders.
Yay!
Yeah. That's a show I have to start watching.
I know, I gotta go back to that.
A while.
I heard
Yeah.
things
That
went
was-
kind of crazy towards the end. I never watched
Well,
the
I
whole
think
thing.
they were trying to figure out, are they going to go for another season or not? And you know,
Right.
and the whole idea of basically, doing The Fugitive with
Right.
Martians in it,
Right.
was just absolutely brilliant. But I think it was they were scrambling there, which was a shame because the show was cut off like almost immediately. And I mean, I still have my coloring books, my lunchbox, and all that.
Yeah, the model kit.
Was
And,
it Courtney? Was it the ratings? Was it? Do you know?
I think
why?
it was. I think it was, and also the show had a little bit of an expensive price tag, and it was ABC.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and they weren't, going to spend big money. And just for the, I don't want to say cheesiness factor, but I would have loved to have seen Werewolf go for a actual.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Completed cool season.
That was a
Chuck
cool little
Connors and
show.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. There was something about that. It was like syndication. It was only half an hour.
Yeah, Canadian
that-
syndications.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
It was fun though. It was good. Yeah.
I have to go back to that. Definitely.
That was a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good ones.
Nice
All right.
one, Courtney.
All right.
James?
Well, I've mentioned this show before, but I was a big fan of I think it only went one season. It was called Ellery Queen. And
Yeah. I
it
just
was,
mentioned it. Yeah. Loved
Oh,
Ellery
yeah.
Queen.
yeah, it was Jim Hutton played the detective Ellery Queen, and David Wayne played
Scary
his father.
detective.
Well,
Well, but it's
I mean,
who done it mystery
it's a whodunit,
murder.
yeah. And it's a different guest cast every episode, and you're invited to try to figure out who the,
And it's
who the
and this
murderer was.
period
Yeah.
takes place in the 40s. They have like
Yeah.
radio shows and
Yeah.
it was Livingston and Link before they did Columbo.
Right.
You know,
Well,
and
if you're gonna throw out shit like that, then like, okay, I want another season of Phyllis. Okay, because I love Phyllis, by the way.
I did watch Phyllis too.
Phyllis was
I did
funny.
too.
Phyllis
Yeah.
was
It was
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
Henry Jones.
Yes,
I didn't-
right? Yeah, I thought it was
didn't
a
watch
great
Phyllis.
show.
I didn't watch it.
Phyllis
Sorry.
was funnier than Rhoda. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
If you want to
you're
talk,
right.
if you want to go down sitcom lane, there was a show called It's Your Move with Jason Bateman.
What's that
And
one?
his mom was Karen Kay, a big sex pot
Oh
in the
yeah.
70s.
Oh yeah.
And she was dating David Garrison. So Jason Bateman and David Garrison had this sort of one-upmanship going on. It only lasted one season, but the writing was really smart and it was funny.
I
gotta
want to
look
see
this
more
up.
episodes. I want to see more episodes of Hot L Baltimore.
Lansky's
John.
Beauties.
I really like that show.
I watched it too. I don't know.
You do?
I was a
Oh,
little
we all
kid, so I don't know.
watched it.
I didn't even know what the hell it was.
I didn't know that it was
Hot,
from a show or anything like
Yeah,
that.
it was
Like
like
it was from a play, a Landon
hot,
Wilson.
right?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
a play. Hot L Baltimore.
Hotel
Like,
Baltimore. Yeah, and I
Richard
thought that was a
Mazer,
funny show.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
funny
Conchata
show.
Farrell.
Yeah, I don't think you
Yeah.
can get. I don't think it's on. Like you can't get it anywhere. I don't think
Maybe
you can find
YouTube.
it.
You can probably
Why-
find it on YouTube.
maybe.
By the way, did Fernwood Tonight ever come out on DVD?
God, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't think so.
Yeah, where's
Talk
that?
about those shows.
Yeah.
Oh my
I-
gosh.
I could have
Yeah.
gone 10 seasons of any
Yes.
incarnation
Yeah.
of that.
Yes.
America Tonight.
America Tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least we
All
got
right.
that. But okay.
Anyone else? Are we ready to move
All
on?
right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay. So who's next?
Are we
I
back
think
to
we're back to Courtney. I think.
Wait,
right?
James, you
Oh.
did one, right? Did you do
No,
one?
I haven't done one yet.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, James.
Okay,
Go ahead.
James. Go ahead.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Write it out. Write it out. Okay. Now.
Oh, thank God. My hand is all sore. Ew.
We'll be the first one.
Well, and it happens to be a moldy one. Ew.
Oh, all right.
Wash your hands.
What's your favorite live action Disney movie?
Nice.
Oh, that's a great
That's
one.
fun.
That's a
Well,
great
yeah, well,
Well, I know right off the bat.
Nowadays, every live action movie is a Disney movie, pretty much.
Sure.
I mean,
Classic, right?
You know,
Okay.
it doesn't say. I actually don't know who's writing this is.
I think it should be classic,
Yes.
just to make
Okay.
it a little more.
yeah.
Maybe we should let Courtney go first.
Yeah.
All right, Courtney.
So Courtney, why don't you tell us?
Oh,
what
here
your
we go.
favorite live action Disney?
Yeah, there we go.
He's holding up
Yeah,
a
the
model,
Nautilus.
a beautiful model of the
Beautiful.
Nautilus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
From what
Of
movie?
Of course.
Well, from what movie?
Well, for our listeners, there's some people who don't know what
okay.
Nautilus is.
No, I got it. I got it.
It's the Nautilus Files, right? That was
Naughty Nautilus.
Some people still believe that 20,000 Leagues is the best live action movie Disney Studios ever made.
Especially at the time, too.
Courtney, can you tell me, was this the first Disney live action film? Or was it?
It was, as a matter of fact, I believe it was the first live action feature. Yes.
Huh, okay.
And my understanding is, when you look at it, you've got some big stars in it. Kirk Douglas and James Mason. But it's like a lot of money went to get Kirk Douglas. They were trying to get big stars to be in this film, to make it a substantial film, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then the design of the sub, that's not.
And then, of course, this just opened the door because they just, one after another, they just kept hitting it out of the park with Treasure Island and Swiss Family Robinson and just on and on. And then the comedy started. And then, of course, Mary Poppins and all the rest. But
no, I thought you said comedy.
Parent Trap and everything. Yeah.
Well, there's comedy
in Mary Poppins.
Yes.
Let's play a Where's Waldo game of trying to find the humor in.
There's
Mary
that great song, where they're laughing and they rise to the ceiling.
Well, I don't know if I would even count Mary Poppins as a live action. I see it. There's so much animation in that. I see it more as a quasi animated.
But I do think that you can call it a live action because the base of the story takes place live action.
Yeah.
So for those young listeners out there, so just to understand, everyone thinks of all the Marvel universe. Remember that Disney was doing these films long before any of that Marvel stuff. I mean, what's the date on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Is it 50?
50, what? I want to say 52.
Okay.
53. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've got the window card right here. Let me look.
Is it a real window card?
Don't hurt him.
James, that's very mean.
Did it come from Georgia?
Oh
wow.
Man.
It's 54. 54.
And of course, that one has the copyright notice blanked out by the thing that says Buena Vista Distribution on it.
All right.
But I think it's 54, same year as Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
But it's beautiful color.
It's so beautiful.
It's so gorgeous. The lighting.
Yeah.
And
the Nautilus. My God.
The design of that is just spectacular.
Yeah.
And Courtney, it's different. Isn't it different from the description of the submarine in the book?
Oh, well, the submarine in the book is kind of almost nondescript. I mean, it's the sword of the sea, and it doesn't really, and what Harper Goff was doing was looking at ironclads at the time of the Civil War and all that stuff, because that's when the story took place.
Yes.
So he was looking at like the Monitor and the Merrimack as his inspiration for the way he was going to design the Nautilus, because in the book it's very vague, actually.
Mm-hmm. Which left it for a great interpretation, though, for Disney to kind of make the coolest looking thing ever.
And it makes sense too.
Anytime anybody sees it, they see something different. That's why they think it's a monster. That's
So cool.
So good. So good.
And then the big monster in the film, which as a kid was terrifying to me. And
the squid?
Oh my God. And during a storm.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that really saved that scene too, was someone, I forget who had the idea of like, hey, let's make it during a storm because we can hide the puppet.
Right.
Well, and also don't forget, guys, that scene was originally shot during the day.
Right. Yes.
And
there's footage of that.
And redid it for night. That's right.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, when there's a shot of the beak of the giant squid, just scared the hell out of me.
Scary.
And then, and also, remember, it grabs one guy and he falls down the stairs. And Ned Land goes, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's got all the red dots on his face. That freaked me out as a kid.
That's
a good one.
So good. So
that's a great one, Courtney. Yeah, that's awesome.
I once again have to throw in though, since we've already brought up 20,000 Leagues.
Yeah.
The Dexter Riley movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fill me with such joy. Kurt Russell was wonderful. And I mean, I grew up with those movies, and it was this nice blend of science fiction and comedy, and everybody was likable. And, you know, Cesar Romero.
Joe Flynn.
The cast in those, they're so fun. I would say
time.
Along those same lines, like for me as a kid, I don't know, it may have been maybe one of the first drive-ins I went to, but for some reason I just loved this movie as a kid. That was Herbie Rides Again.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the first, I think it was the first sequel to The Love Bug. And I mean, I think later I saw The Love Bug, but I've always liked Herbie Rides Again much better. First of all, you got Helen Hayes, you got Ken Berry, you got Stephanie Powers, Keenan Wynn, Hunts Hall is in it. Like, and it just has a great punchy, great fun music theme in it. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about it very innocent and moves really nice. It's just a fun movie. As a kid, I remember seeing it in the drive-in, just loving it.
Hugely popular, those movies.
Keenan Wynn plays Alonzo Hawk, who ties into the Dexter Riley movies, because that character is also in the Dexter Riley movies.
God, you're right. The shared universe. You're right.
Shared universe, yeah.
Yeah. But that's a fun movie.
You know, it's fun. You know, it's funny growing up as a kid. You know, we always talked to my dad about building a treehouse in the backyard, and he kind of did like a half-ass one. You know, and we loved going there. Sure. And my whole life, I always wanted to live in a treehouse. So that's why Swiss Family Robinson, for me, I love the idea of, okay, our boat kind of crashes on the reefs, and we take the boat apart and bring everything, and we build this amazing tree house on the island. I mean, I love that. I wanted to live there so much. And the funny thing is, I would take my daughter to Disneyland when she was young, like 5 and 6 and stuff. One of her favorite things was going through the treehouse. Yeah, she loved it. Right. Sadly, it used to be the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. Now it's the Tarzan treehouse.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird because as you walk through it, you go, you know, Tarzan didn't have this in the film, but still, you know, they added some things, and so my daughter
Tarzan
thinks of it.
Swiss?
No, but it's like Tarzan's parents. They build a tree house, you know, and then they're attacked by the tiger or leopard, and it kills them, you know. But
I hear they're going to change it again to the Avengers treehouse.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, maybe so, sir. Maybe
it'll be the Thanos treehouse.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, later on, Disney movie that I think is just terrific and really should be like completely re-embraced and looked at again is A Watcher in the Woods.
I love that movie.
Yes.
Yes. It's a slightly flawed movie, but it is, the atmosphere in that movie is great.
Yep.
Good cast. And I agree. That's a good film that should be rediscovered. And I think the DVD, the Blu-ray, they had some alternate endings. There's some amazing alternate endings in it where you see like the alien creature, and it's, I mean, or maybe that was what they did. They added that in the theatrical release. I can't remember, but they tampered with the ending.
Yeah, they played with the
after test screenings or something.
They did, yeah.
But there's some. You're right. That's a good movie. It's very unique, and David McCallum's in it, and Lynn Holly Johnson. Yeah, May Davis.
Definitely underrated.
Courtney, are you saying it should be like remade or just revisited? People should check it out.
I think revisited because you know, with Betty Davis, and there were just so many specific things. I mean, I finally caught up with that remake of Witch Mountain, you know, with The Rock and everything.
Oh, is that any good?
Okay, I mean, it was fine, but I so loved those first two movies.
Sure.
When I saw them, and you know, Christopher Lee and everything.
He's in the second one, right? Yeah. No, I know
Kim
those are fun.
Richards.
Kim Richards.
I was in love with her as a.
Oh my gosh!
boy.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, who wasn't? Come on.
Yeah, I know.
That was nice.
All right.
James,
you go?
Yeah, we talked about this briefly on our sci-fi comedies episode, but The Cat from Outer Space. I have a lot of affection. I think it's just like one of the last classic live action Disney movies in the classic sense.
Right.
Because it brings back Ken Berry, Sandy Duncan.
I always had a crush on her too as a kid.
And you've got Harry Morgan and McLean Stevenson from MASH, right? and Roddy McDowell.
That's right. Yeah, great cast.
Michelle is in it. Great cast. And the writing is legitimately funny. I mean, it's not just like kids funny; it's adult funny. at least at some points. And I remember really being impressed with it, even though at that point it came out, it was like 13, 14. You'd think I would have
like late 70s, right? Yeah. It was like towards the end of the 70s. It
was 78, 79. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cat's good too.
The cat is good. I think they got Morris. So,
nice.
So there you go.
Nice one. Nice one.
All right. Courtney's got one more.
All right, go.
I'm having a little bit of a weird semi-erotic flashback.
All right.
Different.
Yourselves in.
One of our previous topics, but it ties into Disney. And since James mentioned Cat from Outer Space, that made me think of That Darn Cat and my lifelong obsession with Suzanne Pleshette.
Oh my God! Absolutely. Anything she was in, I always had a thing for her. Absolutely.
I just watched Support Your Local Gunfighter.
Okay. She was.
I want her to stalk me and shoot at me. Like, I want that to somehow be in this role play.
I got to meet her.
Oh, really?
Because a friend of mine was on a TV series with her. It was a hospital show. Oh boy, Aaron Spelling show called like Archangels or something. I can't remember. It was Chelsea Field was my friend, and she took me to Warner Brothers for lunch, and I got to meet Suzanne Pleshette.
Wow.
And, the first thing I did, she was so good. Of course, she was smoking a cigarette. And I had to ask her immediately how she liked working with Raoul Walsh. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're my sweetheart of the day," and she kissed me.
I mean, from the Birds to the Newhart show, she was just amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Rod Taylor is an idiot. Tippi Hedren, forget it. There's Suzanne Pleshette. What are you, nuts?
Yeah, I kind of can see that to a point. Yeah.
I like brunettes anyway. Yeah.
Well,
it's like Glenn Close or Ann Archer. Come on, there's no competition.
Look, you had competition. Sean, you had a couple drinks at the party. She's looking a little. Come
sorry.
on, man.
You go back Sean. To the wife who is Ann Archer, for God's sake. Shit, are you kidding? It's a no-brainer.
Well, what do we know about guys? Guys love crazy.
Yeah, I
love it crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't help it.
All right.
I think Courtney's next to pick,
We're back. Okay, Courtney. Here we go. Let's try this again.
Okay. And now.
All right. He's doing the
pick. Another moldy one.
Oh, we got another moldy.
What is your most favorite animated movie?
Wow.
I think this is one of my old ones.
I would assume, yes.
What is your most favorite animated movie?
Wow. That's a tough one.
No, it's easy for me. I've mentioned this before. Hands down, from 1964, The Man Called Flintstone, which came out at the height of the James Bond craze. The actual James Bond, who looks just like Fred Flintstone, is incapacitated. So Fred has to step in and take over. And he ends up saving the world. And it's just beautiful. It's the best thing Hanna-Barbera ever did for me, hands down.
Is that out on
dark
Blu-ray?
too.
It's very dark. Is
it on Blu-ray or DVD?
It's on DVD.
Oh, okay.
One thing that really bugs me is that it was released by Columbia, and it's got this great. Instead of the Columbia icon with the woman holding the torch, it's Wilma holding a torch.
Oh, that's great.
But every time they've released it on video since then, they take that part out because other distributors than Columbia have distributed it on video.
Okay, all right.
And that really pisses me off.
Yeah, that's
right.
Matt, I think you said you have it on 16 millimeters.
I do have it on 16.
I want to watch it.
It's not the greatest print.
5 seconds.
And Courtney, you know how this goes. You go with the print that you get. But you know what? That's a movie that I've gone back and forth with over the years. And I'm not a big, like, the songs in that movie kind of.
I love.
And I know you do. And I know you do. But you know what? I'm now back in your camp of, like, it doesn't matter. It's a thing of its time.
Right.
It's so strange.
Well, it gets very, very dark.
I wonder. Did it do well? I think at the box office.
It was some kiddie matinee. It's
It probably did. Yeah.
But Barney gets tortured on a rack. It's like shit happens that you would never ever. When I was 4, my parents took me to it. They had to drag me out of the theater crying because of scary shit going on.
And there's sexy ladies too. Sexy ladies all over the place.
It gets into like Fellini territory, but because they go to.
Wait, is this the same movie? Really?
Yes.
I'll have to check this out.
It's been so long.
Awesome. It's fucking awesome. This is a great movie. I love it. Okay. Anyway, I've talked about it before. I'll continue to gush about it, but thank you for letting me rant about it again.
Sure.
Of course. Well, like one of my favorites still because of the history, because of the beauty of the animation, Fantasia from 1940. I mean, you know, I love all the stories. I loved all the music. You know, I was brought up as my parents listened to classical music all the time, and seeing that in the theater was magical. But when I went to France, it was being re-released. And I went to this theater and my friend took us up to the balcony. I go, why are you taking me up to the balcony? And she goes, Larry, trust me. And then all of a sudden, before the film started, the giant screen came down and it was blown up to where it was in my peripheral vision. And I felt as if I was actually in the movie. And it was amazing. It was a beautiful print and the music was great. You know, I know that there are some issues about it. Historically there's some, racial things.
Politically incorrect,
yes, and stuff. And I get it. But as a kid, the whole thing was magical to me, and I've loved the classical music. And of course, it's when we get to see Mickey Mouse be an axe murderer. He takes an axe, and you see the silhouette of him hacking up the broom. So anyway,
that's cool.
That's Fantasia's for me.
Can't argue with that choice.
Anyone else?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mad Monster Party.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
motion,
definitely up there for me. I can watch the movie over and over again.
That is a great choice.
The songs, the designs of the characters, the magic of that Rankin Bass stop motion. I agree. That's a great choice.
The voices.
I think that's an underrated movie.
I do too. Yeah.
I think there's some politically incorrect moments of that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
And I will let the audience discover, but in my pseudonym days, I was working for a certain film production company that had a deal with a certain magazine that was edited by Bob Guccione. And they were turning out some Skinamax movies.
Sure.
And I wrote one where every character was named from Mad Monster Party. So
no
way! Oh my God, that's awesome!
And
you're not going to tell me the title. I'm
no,
sure.
I am not.
I'm going to have to. That means I have to go through every single one.
So there's a Francesca in there. There's
There sure is.
Nice. Okay, that's cool. Flankin' Felix.
It's funny. There's so much love for that movie. When did the film come out? Was it 68, 69?
60s, like late 60s, I think. Right?
And then
I saw it in the theater. So I think about 67, 68. Yeah.
Here we are in 2022. And it wasn't too long ago. Was it, James, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago where actual action figures were made of the characters?
Yeah.
It's like
I wish they made more. They only made a few.
They stopped
at 3. They stopped at 3.
They stopped with the Frankenstein monster, Dracula, and
the Baron.
Boris Karloff.
And there's a Boris Karloff.
Right. Yeah, I have them all. They're great.
And then I got the Funko, the little Funko figures, which I think are great too. But because with those you get
Mr. Hyde and
and you get the zombie bellman.
Yeah, I love the zombie design.
And you get one of the band members, the skeleton band.
Yeah. I mean, we should have a whole set of those.
I know we should.
Yeah.
But that's you know what?
The Mummy.
God, what's the name? What's the name of the sequel that they did that was like regular cell animation?
Mad Monsters?
Mad Monsters? Which, you know what? I enjoy that one too.
Yeah, that's
it's not the same league, of course, as Mad Monster
It's like an animated special.
It was. But I did find that amusing as well.
It's a good one.
Nice one, Courtney. Nice one.
Well, I think my favorite, even though, I mean, look, you can't touch Disney and all the amazing things that they've done. And I love, like, one of my favorites is like Alice in Wonderland. I think that's an amazing film. But I love all of them. And, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I mean, you can't get near any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But when you said animated movie,
Yes.
First thing that came to mind, and it's the one that I go back to probably the most, is Akira.
Oh,
yeah.
my
Sure, yeah.
gosh.
Sure.
Oh,
Because-
blown away when I saw that.
I mean, that movie, I remember some people just talking about that film. And I saw some of the pictures of certain scenes and in magazines. And I was like, God, I got to see this thing because, I mean, right off the bat, it owes a bit to Blade Runner, obviously.
Yes, clearly,
Sure.
yeah.
And the whole, there's the whole cyberpunk thing. But Katsuhiro Otomo, the way that he distills the manga that he did and then puts it into that movie, it's not beat by beat the same exact story, but I feel he did a great job in kind of just smushing this thing together, picking the right parts, and it's just awe-inspiring. When I look at that movie, and there's so many scenes like that scene where all the like the stuffed animals in that nursery coming alive.
Oh, that's a creepy moment. Yeah.
So good. And I just, I can't praise that film enough.
But then just the colors, there's a sequence when you hear the music and you're driving on the motorcycle and you see that's one level. Then you see it's like a multiplane. You see in the background the searchlights and then the colorful city and how it's moving. It's just stunning. It's beautiful and it feels kind of like techno and it's like hip and I just love it. The look of it is it's just gorgeous. And Matt, like you, that's exactly what happened when I had heard about it and word was getting around in San Francisco because I think I saw it in Berkeley. Yeah. I saw it at a big theater in Berkeley that it's like it's only going to be there for like a weekend or something.
Right, exactly.
And it was a packed theater.
Yes.
And it was just
to see it on the big screen too.
Yeah.
Totally.
So and if anyone like people have said, oh, see Blade Runner on a big screen, this is like an animated film that if you could ever see that on a big screen, I think you'll be blown away.
Yeah. And another thing I'll say about this movie too is that how like people sometimes are put off by when they see traditional anime where it's like, the animation may be a bit
choppy,
minimal, I guess it would be.
Yeah, maybe the animation's on 2s rather than 1s. Like when you watch Snow White, it's so fluid. And maybe with anime, it's a little different. It's different,
Which I do enjoy. And I do love anime. But if you're going into this film thinking you're going to get that type of animated film, it's not like that at all. It's really fluid animation.
Right.
I think it's some of the best. And I have an original cell from that film on my wall.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. And I love that movie.
Nice one, Matt. Yeah. Nice one.
I would say for me, just a movie that I really never get tired of seeing, and I just love it, and it's pretty magical for me. And it's a movie that I don't think is like any other animated film I've ever seen. That would be Yellow Submarine.
Oh, wow.
Great choice.
I mean, that just the design of that movie. And of course, I mean, all the music is fantastic. But just the world of that movie, like the way they use the Beatles music in that film with the animation is amazing. And I know it's the pop artist, Peter Max. Yeah. He gets attributed to it, but it's really not. It's actually not. It's another guy, art director, Heinz Edelman, who was the art director, but it's very Peter Max inspired, that psychedelic pop art style. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's incredible. The movie's incredible to watch. The characters come into that movie. Oh my God. But it's also like poignant and just funny and scary. Like it's amazing.
Scary.
It never gets, it does not dates to me at all. Like it's really a kind of timeless movie. Yeah. I love it. I would say that one for sure.
Great choice.
Well, coming up when we did, in the 60s, and suddenly animation was kind of finding new forms and, it was breaking away from the Disney.
The traditional.
And a movie that had a huge impact on me just because I had never seen anything like it when I was in high school was Wizards.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. That's a great Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah.
And that one's good. That's a good sci-fi fantasy story.
And everything.
People trash that movie. And
I don't know why. It's good. It's good.
I don't know why either, because I saw it in the theater and I was mesmerized. Yes.
It's one of Bakshi's strongest features, I think.
And I don't mind the rotoscoping myself.
No, it works well in that film. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Later on, it got kind of dicey,
Too much.
but
Yes, he over relied on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're right. No, that's Wizard's a good one, man.
That's a great.
That would be an interesting movie to see, kind of done live action. Like nowadays, it'd be interesting to, But yeah, that's a good, very stylized.
With poster art by William Stout.
William Stout,
That's
who's
right.
on our show.
That's right.
Guest on our show. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Yeah, that's a good one.
So good.
Cool.
Nice one, everyone. I like that one.
Did we get everybody?
That was fun.
I think so. Okay,
All right,
so
all right.
Sean, why don't you go and pick another one
Okay,
here?
all right. Okay, choose one now.
Jesus. All right, this is a newer one. Okay. Thoughts on new Godzilla 2021 at Warner Brothers versus old Godzilla at Warner Brothers? Is this like 1998, Courtney? This is yours.
no, I'm thinking Gigantus the Fire Monster Godzilla.
Oh, okay. So
Ooh.
thoughts on new Godzilla at Warner Brothers versus old Godzilla. So let's say
Yeah.
the recent one to the classic.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
easy for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, this was purposeful that I
Look.
wrote this down.
look, I grew up watching the old Godzilla films and I love them, and Godzilla is very dear to my heart. Okay. But the most recent film, Godzilla versus King Kong, I mean, I did enjoy because there's a lot of great monster action in it. There's a lot of great monster fight in it. And I really enjoyed that. Sure, some of the human stuff is a little goofy, but it's also kind of goofy in the classic stuff too. So
Different goofy though.
it is a different goofy. So look, if everything was going to be like 1960s Godzilla, the guy in the suit, which I still love, it may not be able to hold last. The audience wouldn't, the kids today wouldn't go for it. And so, it's kind of changed with the times. And I love the look of the new Godzilla, and I love the battles that they did. So
I think
So-
he looks overweight.
hey,
He looks like he
does
has
look-
hey,
He
who
looks a little-
amongst us a little chunky,
a little
perhaps?
chunky. He does look a little chunky.
Okay.
It's a lot of downtime apparently.
But you see, so you want this
Was there-
fit, athletic
another
lizard
victim of
that can-
COVID.
No.
Everybody picked up a little pandemic weight. So that's all right.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's interesting because I still think the original Godzilla is very iconic and a scary kind of
Scary.
representation of the atomic age. And Godzilla Raids Again, I know they did some of the monster fighting with Anguillus was a little sped up, so
They
it
made a
looked little more-
mistake. I believe
but
they
it
made a
looked- yes,
mistake.
but it looked a little kind of kinetic and ferocious. But to me, that first Godzilla and Godzilla Raids Again were kind of the same kind of monster in a way. But when in the
Yes.
third film, the original King Kong versus Godzilla, they changed Godzilla. They changed his personality a little bit. Or,
Yes.
and made him. And from that point on, versus Mothra and the Ghidra, he became more almost humanized to a point.
Right.
But technically, the new Godzilla, it looks real. It looks amazing. I do think they make him a little large, but I actually really like the Godzilla in the original King Kong versus Godzilla, his personality. And then later, like in the Destroy All Monsters and all that, when he's like, I love the Showa era Godzilla in that way. And the way he slightly changes a little bit. And then by the time you get to like Megalon, he's like a puppy dog. And
Yeah, then he's he's a superhero.
then he's a superhero.
Yeah.
But the way he kind of changed and evolved in those early films, I kind of still really love. But the original stuff, like if they never made any other Godzilla films and you just had that first Godzilla film, that's a great classic monster. I think I'd always go with that.
It's interesting because I go to the original. If we're looking outside of the superhero kind of stuff and we're going to the original Godzilla, which, as you guys have been saying, is a scary movie and has political and anti-war subtext. And then to me, I think the perfect double feature with that original Godzilla, Gojira, is Shin Godzilla. Because that's the one that always gets left out of all of
True.
this.
Mhm.
True.
Yes.
Because
You're right.
Agreed.
The American Godzilla gets all the,
Attention.
the
Yeah.
attention
Right.
and it's known. It's the big property here. But Shin
Right,
Godzilla to me is closer to the original Godzilla because once again, it's satire. It's
scary.
Satire in the sense of skewering bureaucracy.
Yeah, it's like Stanley Kubrick satire.
Right, exactly.
One of the great things about that film too is it's like if a giant creature came in and was going to attacking, it's like, okay, well, let's bring the military in. Whoa, wait a minute, you can't bring the military in. We need the governor. It's like there's all this red tape.
Really
you got to do, and it's like, so who has permission to fire? These bullets or these, and it's all the stuff that they never deal with any of the earlier Godzilla films. So Matt, that stuff I love. I love that. And I would agree with you. I think that's a great double feature.
Yeah. Gojira, man. The one that started it all.
But this is thoughts on new Godzilla and old Godzilla. Yeah. So James, what about you?
Well, I've said this before, I will watch all the new Godzilla films, but for me, Godzilla is intrinsically a Japanese property, and I just don't feel it if it's not a Japanese produced film.
Right.
It just doesn't work. I can't tell you why exactly. It just has to be. Yeah.
I agree.
But I know what you mean. It's like,
it's the history. It's rooted. It's so rooted for me in that environment. That it's not actual Godzilla to me. It's just an Americanization of it.
It's like imitation crab meat never tastes as good as actual crab meat.
Yeah,
but I still love imitation crab meat.
How dare you even call it meat?
So, Courtney, what's your opinion on this?
Well, the thing is, looking at, of course, Gojira, I think, is literally in a class by itself because it is still so effective and it's so gorgeously made in the black and white. But, when you talk about the first King Kong versus Godzilla, I saw that in the movie theater. Still has one of my favorite Godzilla images of all time. Is that incredible aerial shot of him coming out of the iceberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
fantastic.
So cool.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
Fantastic. And the thing is too, and it's probably my advanced age and all these other factors, but the clean visuals of those Godzilla movies compared to now, the newer, the technology and being able to render Godzilla and all of that stuff is absolutely astonishing. But quite honestly, this last one, I couldn't tell you what the hell was going on for half of it.
Completely agree.
Right.
Yeah.
And you
won't argue with you there.
All right.
King of the Monsters, having all this debris and stuff flying around through the air, it was maddening. I hated that.
I do what I would say. You know what? I would say that a movie that doesn't get enough love for what it is Kong Skull Island. I thought that did a better job of controlling just a better plot and actual I feel like I said this before, they're actual human characters. I mean, it may not be the greatest masterpiece of a script, but it's actually about something. I mean, it's about their arcs with the stories with the human characters, and they make Kong a real character, but they don't overdo it with the chaoticness of the, it's paced deliberately, and it's
the best of all those movies, I think.
I think so.
I like the human characters in Kong Skull Island. I don't like the human characters in any of the Godzilla films.
No, I don't. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue. Absolutely.
But come on, guys, that whole fight sequence that takes place.
Sure, the fight's great, but nowadays, any studio with a big budget franchise can make anything look amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. I mean, look, you can make the most beautiful 10-minute battles ever that is not going to blow your mind, but the rest of the 90 minutes with the human characters, if they don't work, then what?
And knowing that there's a guy in that suit, who when he falls, hey, he might have fallen on a very sharp model building, and had to take 5.
And there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears inside that costume. Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and not to lay open a whole nother topic, but I enjoyed Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And knowing the origins of it and, all the love and care that went into it. But I thought, what? Was this kind of blown opportunity, because once again, everything is in the rain. Everything is rusty. Everything is falling apart.
Yeah.
And I said, man, this guy was he could have done anything he wanted. Wouldn't it have been wonderful if he chose the Mysterians as his color palette and did it that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been so completely different than the way all these they make these movies now.
Yeah.
Destroy all monsters, or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
Monster Zero, especially
Monster Zero.
Yeah. Like do it in that kind of like almost like candy colored like
Exactly.
daylight like where's that like
blue
where's that?
space.
Yeah.
I love
just
blue
make it like, but
space.
make it like
Outer
you can make
space,
it
it's
realistic, but still kind of nostalgic. You know, you're right. Everybody, you're right. I mean, I don't know if it's the computer technology. It's easier to mask things, maybe, but you're right. Though so many of these big battles take place in like cloudy lightning and rain and thunder, and like you're right. I want a big battle in complete daylight on Mount Fuji. Which is sunny day. How about the final battle and like destroy all monsters? Redo that.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, Sean, because like we discussed on our last show, each one of these newer Godzilla films, they up the ante for each one.
Yeah.
With that first Godzilla film, they hardly show Godzilla. Then with Ghidorah, they show a little bit of the monsters.
Right.
This one, you had a lot of Kong Godzilla action, but this next one that they're going to do, it's got to be like wall-to-wall action. And Sean, perhaps they're going to make you happy because it's going to take place all in the daytime.
At least some of it.
One
Is it called Godzilla Daytime?
I don't know. But that was a good one, Courtney. That was a good one.
That was great.
Okay?
That was fun, yeah.
All right. So
is it you?
Sean, Sean, I think
is it my turn, right?
Yeah.
No, I just went.
You went. Okay, so it's my turn.
Yeah.
And go. Oh.
What does that mean?
Well, first of all,
hell.
it's an old one. It's a moldy one, and all it says on it is Mexican horror movies. That's all it says.
Okay. That's a good topic.
And unfortunately, I know that James has sent us a lot of the werewolf films and stuff like that. And honestly, I haven't.
The Paul Naschy films are Spain, not Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Excellent,
Spanish,
Larry.
Larry.
Mexico.
I guess they're all the same to you. Okay.
You mean like Curse of
who
the Doll
wrote this?
People?
Or who wrote this? Mexican horror film movies.
I don't know. It could have been me. I mean, that's a topic.
Look at that.
That's mine.
Okay.
That's mine. Yeah. That's a topic I've always wanted to do. I mean,
we've been talking about doing an entire episode.
Yeah. We can.
But let's talk about it for a
little bit. Yeah.
A moment. Okay. Fine. Sean, why don't you or James, go ahead.
No, right off the bat, you've got the Santos series, the masked wrestler fighting the Aztec mummy,
and
fighting
the
all these
vampire
different
women.
monsters.
Yeah, that's a whole subgenre in itself.
But all those movies like Curse of the Crying Woman and Curse of the Doll People, The Living Head,
Brainiac, the Brainiac.
Brainiac is just the Witch's Mirror. There's all these movies made. I mean, Courtney, you know this, right? All these guys, like in the 50s, the vampire movie, El Vampiro, right? That was like a big hit, and they made a couple of vampire films. It was like Mexico was kind of making these atmospheric classic monster movies. They were like doing the Universal horror films from the 30s and 40s.
Right.
Well, one of the things that kind of spurred that, and of course, guys like K. Gordon Murray and, people like that were picking up for distribution, which I hope one day, yes, we will see Dan Griffith's great documentary about K. Gordon Murray.
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
But, the Universal horror movies were re-released in Mexico in the 50s, and they were incredibly successful. And that, kind of spurred the Herman Robles, of course, El Vampiro. Right. One of those that I think is really terrific, because that kind of takes place modern day, whatever, and people are driving around in cars. It was a really good period one that was released as World of the Vampire.
Yes. Love that one.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes, and they stake the vampire as a bat. Remember?
Yeah. And there's a werewolf, and there's a pit with spikes in it, and he plays an organ of bones. I mean, it's nonstop. It's like fantastic. It's like as a little kid, you saw this on late night TV, like, oh my God, what is this movie? Yeah, it's great.
They were wonderful, and the New Invisible Man, and what was the one with John Carradine? I want to say Lady Death, where half of her face was burned off.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Lady
there's a
Death.
whole.
Well, plus you got
bunch
Face of the Screaming Werewolf with Lon Chaney Jr., right?
Right.
That's right. Oh, Jerry Warren.
Jerry
thank you very
Warren
much. Yeah.
patched it together from right. And, yeah, but the Aztec Mummy films, all those movies are super atmospheric, and they're a little goofy, and we're used to them with the dubbing, but some of them came out in the original language subtitles, and those are really great atmospheric.
And then
fun movies.
we're kind of talking about the black and whites because, man, if you want Gonzo, Night of the Bloody Apes.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
Yeah.
You got wrestling women, you got nudity, you got gore, you got lab experiments. I mean, it's
Sure.
fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, that is ripe for a whole episode. I'm telling you, we just have to get the right person.
And I think I'll have to see some. I have to see some films. Well, I have to see some films before.
And also,
or maybe I could be educated about them.
Yeah,
because you're doing such a great job, Sean.
You could watch some movies as well. That would be okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, no,
I also, as a more modern one, I mean, we all know Guillermo del Toro and his work, but to go back to Kronos from 1993.
Yeah,
was his debut, really.
That's right. That's a good film.
And it's a really neat little vampire movie.
Horror film, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. So there you go.
And you're right, though. Nothing beats Brainiac.
Well, that
Brainiac
thing.
I mean,
oh my God.
The guy, he goes off to the side and opens his cabinet. He has this little chalice of a brain. He just takes, scoops out some.
He's got like a little, it's like a little, he's just having a little snack.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And that monster, and that monster is just an absolute classic. You can't beat that ridiculous looking monster. It's amazing.
I love it.
That's a good one.
I want to cosplay it.
Okay.
Comic-Con.
All right. Okay, so I guess James, you want to go?
All right. Okay, keep going. Keep going. And now.
This is a newer one. Oh, this is going to be good. What's your top most frustrating fake out monster in a horror film? In other words, a monster that turns out not to be real, a hoax and or explained away as natural or man-made phenomena.
That's one of mine. That's one of my new ones.
That's like for listeners, like the Scooby-Doo-ism stuff,
right?
Where there, something seems haunted, and they catch the ghost, and they pull up a mask, and it's like Mr. Hooper, and I would have gotten off if it wasn't for those darn kids. So
sometimes it works. Sometimes some movies it works okay, but others, I mean, I don't mind his, but I want to hear what you guys are first.
Well, Sean, wasn't there one that I think we both talked about?
Yes.
Yes. Karuku.
Beast of the Amazon.
Beast of the Amazon, because the poster is so great.
This is 50s Universal, Beverly Garland. And
I love Beverly Garland.
It's a jungle horror film where it's like this hideous monster is terrorizing the natives, and she goes in there with an intrepid explorer to find it. And even the trailer is pretty cool. Like,
this trailer's great.
You see these claws and these featers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it turns out to be, it's just a guy in a suit trying to scare people.
Well, spoiler alert, It
was so disappointing. And the movie's kind of cheesy, although I still would love to see it on Blu-ray. But
along those same lines, Sean, The Village. The Village,
sure.
That was M. Night Shyamalan's,
right.
And it started out really cool. It was really neat, and when you see this creature, it's like, oh my God, what a great concept! And then where it goes, I mean, the acting's all great. Where it goes, I was so mad. Anyone else?
What about you?
Well, is a little behind the scenes for yours. Have you ever read Beverly Garland's interviews about making Karuku?
Oh, wow.
Apparently, Kurt Siodmak kept wanting to walk her into the moonlight and, would knock on her door at 2:00 in the morning.
No.
Really?
Wait, are you the writer of The Wolfman?
Yeah, he directed that movie.
No,
Wow. Well, so Siodmak was the real beast of the Amazon.
She had to kind of, hold Kurt at bay. She liked him, but not in that way.
Sure.
And,
wow.
she was holding Kurt at bay. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, for me, the movie that where it really works so well and is just so much fun is House on Haunted Hill. That's probably
Exactly. That's where it works. That's where it works beautifully. And they kind of cheat a little bit in that movie anyway, because like, how does the housekeeper float? You know, it's like, but you're right there. That works. I mean, there's other movies like April Fool's Day, a slasher film from the 80s, but that works for me. I think it's clever.
Well, that was always the thing with Bill Castle, because, he did that a few times. The Tingler also.
The Tingler, right.
But then, there was always that kicker at the very end. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, people did get killed in House on Haunted Hill. Oh, my God. She does rise up off her bed when she's dead.
Yeah,
and, goes and attacks Philip Coolidge. So, there was always that, oh, my gosh, the whole thing's phony. And then it isn't.
Yeah, he still kind of satisfied you.
I mean, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
That's another one. Yeah, exactly.
We get through that. One of my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
And certainly one of my favorite comedies. You go through that whole movie and initially you think there's something supernatural and you find out that it's not. But then at the very end.
Right.
You bet.
The very end.
Yeah.
But that's a great movie, though. That is, that I wasn't so unhappy with.
Right? Yeah.
Scooby-Doo, though, that show should have been for me. That cartoon was right up my alley, and
Same here, buddy.
Yeah.
I remember watching as a kid that very first episode of Scooby-Doo.
Really, really.
Yes, I remember because I sat through that whole thing.
Yes,
and then they pulled the mask off, and it's old man Crowley from
yes.
And I was just like, fuck this. I think it might have been the first time I said fuck.
But
too
many lighthouses.
Single time.
But see, here's the thing. I didn't know when I saw that. I didn't know that every episode was going to be it's Mr.
That's right. You went back.
Matt, I went back because I loved monsters and stuff. I kept thinking they're going to come back and they're going to say, "Oh, it's this mysterious monster," and they captured the mysterious monster. It didn't happen, and so it's like I kept going back and going back, waiting for the real monster to appear.
Didn't they change that in the movies? They made it
later
real monsters,
like
in a sequel or something, which is good. Yeah, I never saw it, but at least
But in the original Scooby-Doo, what was frustrating is that when they did what you were, shown as something that was supposedly really supernatural, those scenes were great.
Yeah.
And that's what even frustrated me more because
you're right.
This scene was done so well.
The title sequence is the title sequence is all the monsters.
You can do anything.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I know.
Speaking of Vincent Price.
That's right. The 13 was it 13 something of Scooby-Doo? Yeah. Was that
was the Scooby-Doo movies, right? Or
no, it was a series. It was like
it was a series.
13 Curses of Scooby-Doo or something.
I think
something
but what's interesting is they were telling a story, and how you could tell that they were telling a story is when you went to see Shaggy and Daphne. Shaggy's shirt's a different color. Some of the colors that they normally would wear are different colors. And that was to imply that it's a story. You know what I mean? It's a tale. It's not real they're in a different world.
But I thought Scooby-Doo was real.
I want to see the Scooby-Doo Blair Witch.
That'd be a good parody.
And then they just disappear. And then
Velma goes crazy.
We got to do another crossovers episode because we did that once and it was fun.
Scooby-Doo and Blair Witch. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
All right.
Cool. Anybody else? Is that
this is more of a conceptual issue that goes back to the original source material, but Stephen King's It. Right. Where, you've got, it's an effective, the first movie's pretty effective. The second movie is also somewhat effective, but the problem is you've got this villain, you got this clown, Pennywise, who's basically the embodiment of fear. He's like a physical embodiment of fear. So all you really have to do is face up to it and fight it to defeat it. Right. And that's kind of a cop-out to me. It's like, it's not a real monster. It's just a psychological avatar is what it is. It's not a real monster. And so what have we been fighting all this time? It's just fear itself.
It's
It's
more like
just
an
weak.
amorphous kind of
Well,
evil.
It's
but-
lame.
but-
It's
but
lame
James,
when it shouldn't be lame.
But it comes from an entity, though. No,
but the entity,
it does. It comes from an entity. But you're saying it's a person with a mask? No, it's an entity
I'm not
thing.
saying it's a person with a mask, but I'm saying that the entity, I was disappointed by it. Let's put it that way.
I will say that by the time we got to the second It, I didn't even care anymore. By the end, I was just
the second It has some of the most ridiculously incredibly bad CGI. I still don't understand how filmmakers today cannot understand that CGI is not scary.
Yeah.
When that cartoon witch monster thing came towards her, like my wife and I both we just started laughing. I could not believe every set piece was so overdone and so bad. And so the first movie I had issues, but my God, that second one was horrendous. We went back and watched the TV movie miniseries, and that looked like a fucking masterpiece compared to the second theatrical film.
Yeah.
And everybody had a speech that went on too long. It was the most indulgent fucking. Oh my God, it was terrible.
No,
it was
torture.
I liked it.
I know you do, Larry. I know.
liked it.
You're entitled to your opinion, but that movie to me was just. You got to be kidding me. Like
I'm not
that's
kidding.
I couldn't get, as much as I loved Stephen King, especially in the mid-'80s when that novel came out, I could not get through it because if you've got a situation where absolutely anything can happen that defies the laws of reality, there's no suspense.
When you have a giant CGI lumberjack coming towards you, terrifying. I'm going to have nightmares from that. Like, oh my God.
Just have a real lumberjack lumbering.
Yeah. Just have Michael Palin come after you. That's scarier.
Hey, Sean, we're all scared of different things, okay?
Yes.
So for you,
I'm scared of overproduced, over-budget, indulgent franchise horror films that suck.
Okay.
That's what I'm scared of.
Okay. All right.
Scared
You
of
made
the
yourself
future. One more
very
reason
clear.
to be scared of the future.
All right, great. All right, this is good. Okay, so why don't we move on to Matt? Matt, I think it's your turn.
Okay, all right, here we go. All right, go round and round.
Yes, I'm round and round.
A little more. I'm going to do.
Jesus Christ,
go
guys!
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Keep going. And almost done. And
I'm
now.
just gonna fucking. It's another new one.
Hey.
Okay, favorite Al Adamson films.
Ooh.
Oh.
So I know whose question this is. Courtney, do you want to explain who Al Adamson is for our listeners?
Good choice.
Yes, Al Adamson was the, should we say, the auteur?
Could say that one.
That's stretching it, buddy.
International Pictures and responsible for probably the movie that we've all seen multiple times, Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
As well as Blood of Dracula's Castle and Satan's Sadists and Blazing Stewardesses. And
Blood of Ghastly Horror.
But what I want to say is for
horror, absolutely. Psycho, A Go-Go, Brain of Blood.
There's so many.
But Courtney, wouldn't you say that for listeners out there, they may hear these titles and go, gee, that sounds familiar. I may have seen that. Probably haven't. Because what he did is he was a schlocky filmmaker, and a lot of his films went to drive-ins, right? That was
he was a drive-in.
And Independent International used to, retitle the movies quite frequently and re-release them. So there was always a good deal of confusion. But there's been this refocus on Al Adamson because, they brought out the set, and then the documentary about him. And as we know, he was murdered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
In,
what, 95,
amazing.
96?
Yeah.
He was like 60,
like in
65,
his Las
66.
Vegas, like Las Vegas house, like the
he was buried. Yes, the guy he hired as his contractor killed him and buried him under his own hot tub.
Jesus.
Which is like a horror story of its own.
Yeah. He's a fascinating character though, and he has. I mean, the thing is, I enjoy his movies, and
really, Sean.
But yeah, I do. I mean, his movies are like quintessential schlocky drive-in films. Like if you're in the mood for a 70s drive-in schlock, go to Al Adamson. I mean, Dracula versus Frankenstein is probably the one that's the most also just consistently enjoyable and kind of crazy because you got, just what's his face playing Dracula.
Zandor
Vorkov, but it's also like it's kind of an homage to classic Universal. I mean, you have
Lon Chaney Jr.'s in it, and he doesn't have a single
Nash
line.
in there.
He doesn't have a single line because he couldn't remember anything.
Yeah, I mean, he was in bad shape.
That's not true.
We'll make your character mute, and you'll pet a little puppy the whole time.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Oh, okay. Tell us.
Okay,
Tell us.
was in the. He had the throat cancer and he had his voice box removed.
Right.
And he did record lines. They actually wanted Groton to like reflect on everything that was going on around him.
Oh, wow.
But they thought that he sounded so terrible. If you see the female bunch, which was another Al Adamson movie, you hear him speak. That's the last time he ever spoke on film.
Right.
And it really is awful.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to him. Yeah, I mean,
it really is hard to listen to.
Yeah.
And also, too, with anybody who's interested in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Al Adamson, so many of the movies were shot at the Spahn Ranch. They were always dealing with
the Manson Ranch.
Yeah. Some members of the family actually pop up in the movies. So there's quite a bit of stuff, always going on.
Interesting.
Well, and Satan Sadist, they actually use that in the marketing too.
I think
it's filmed where it happened, like that kind of a thing. But I mean, look, I enjoyed the Naughty Stewardesses. And of course, Blazing Stewardesses is also warm place in my heart. My favorite film, I think, now this is going to be weird, but it's my favorite because as a kid, I would rarely get through the rest of the movie, but the very beginning of Horror of the Blood Monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Because the most of the movie is like a Filipino movie.
Right, tinted
red. They tinted it different colors.
Supposed to be taking place on another planet.
Right.
But the beginning, they shoot a bunch of scenes where it's like these vampires are going berserk all over the city. And,
right.
They shot these scenes of vampires attacking people.
Right.
And as a little kid, I thought, holy fuck, this movie's great.
Yeah.
This is the first 30 seconds and this is happening?
And one of those vampires is Al Adamson with the Fang.
Absolutely. And our good friend Gold Gus Peters, he's one of they shot all of those attack scenes in the alley next to Bordner's there on Cherokee Street. So
oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. It's true, much like nowadays, much like, how Andy Milligan is getting reassessed to his stuff.
Yeah.
That's what's happening with Al Adamson. And Severin Films, the company, put out this fantastic documentary called Blood and Flesh, The Real Life and Ghastly Death of Al Adamson. And it's fantastic.
Really great. Yeah.
And I mean, his movies, if you're in the mood for schlock exploitation, you can't go wrong.
And when we did our little movie, Whisper to a Scream, Angelo Rosito was in it.
Right.
And he actually repeats a line he had in Dracula versus Frankenstein in our movie.
That's awesome.
That was his improv. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you for bringing up that one. Cause that's, there's nothing really like his movies,
Courtney, was he still active before he passed away, before he was murdered?
Well, the thing is, he was no dummy. He made a lot of money ultimately in real estate. He ran around with his little paychecks from these independent movies, which he always owned a piece of. And they were literally, sending the prints around in the back of station wagons, through drive-ins in Arkansas and places like that.
Yeah.
And then he would buy a house here, turn it around, because he was married to Regina Carroll, the blonde actress who's in all those movies.
Right.
And then they kept flipping houses. It was like probably the first time I ever heard about this.
Wow.
And he did really, really well. And what's interesting about him is he was doing so well in this. This is like sub AIP time. I mean, the independent international stuff was really considered bottom rung.
Right.
He produced a movie for CBS starring Andrea Markovici called Cry Rape. That did really well and was nominated for some Emmys and things. And
wow.
So suddenly, now he didn't direct it, but they brought him on and he line produced it and he brought it in under budget.
Huh.
And Leonard Freeman, who's a producer for Hawaii Five-0, said, "Look, I want you to come work for me," and he turned it down.
Wow,
really?
Back to the world of Blazing Stewardesses and all that stuff.
So he could have had a career like in TV. Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so that guy,
It seemed like he enjoyed making these movies.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And that it was, I'm sure, the idea of like, yeah, I can work for TV and have everybody telling me what to do, or I can do my stuff and live the way I want to.
Wow.
No, that's it. And, also, I think you see those films, and when, of course, we started making our movies in the 80s and everything else, but still, I had movies playing the drive-in, and that was just an absolute blast that kind of world, which was fast going away.
Yeah.
Just kind of the tail end of it. And there were these guys who actually still existed in that universe of making these movies, and you hit through the South and the inner cities and all that stuff. And you were, literally picking up your money for the night's till directly from the box office.
Yeah. Such a different time.
Full of cash. Yeah. It was like,
The Wild
living
West.
the carnival life.
Yeah. Totally.
All right.
Unfortunately, the only one that I can recall really is
Dracula versus
Frankenstein. I saw it. I saw it on Creature. I saw it on Creature Features, and I remember as a kid being angry because I was so upset that Lon Chaney Jr. didn't talk, and that I thought Frankenstein character was weak.
Where's the Zandor Vorkov Dracula action figure? I want that. Man. He's still around. That guy.
He's on the cover of Famous Monster magazine.
Yeah, he was interviewed for the documentary. He's still around.
He came to the premiere of the documentary. People went nuts.
Wow,
amazing.
His real name is Roger Engel. He lives in Virginia. And he came to he couldn't believe it. People, were just swarming him.
I know, that's amazing.
He's also in Brain of Blood.
That's right, with Grant Williams. That's right.
Wow.
Nice. All right. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun, hasn't it?
It's been awesome.
It's been quite an annihilation.
But what
Courtney, my God,
I tell you, you are just so great.
I knew you were going to have like some behind the scenes historical anecdote about every topic that we choose, which is fantastic.
I love it. But you know what I would like to do? I'd like to do a quick lightning round. What do you say I just pick, like 5 out, for each one of us, and we just go with it, okay?
I love it.
Sound good? All right. So I'm going to pick one.
Okay.
Movies I walked out on. I can tell you, people know that I've never walked out of film because I always feel no matter how bad it is, I can learn something. So I never have.
I don't think I've ever walked out on a movie.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
James, that's like a regular thing with you, right?
Yeah.
I think this was one of my topics.
Okay.
It looks like you're writing.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
King Kong Lives.
Okay.
I could sit in the food court of this mall, and it would still be people watching, and it would still be more entertaining than this movie.
That's harsh.
That's a good one.
Courtney, did you ever walk out? Did you ever walk out of a film?
I sure did. Surprisingly, the first Billy Jack movie, The Born Losers.
Really?
Wow.
No, why? Was it just like not your thing? It was just like
it was. It should have been. I was like 15, but no, I don't know what struck me wrong there.
Huh,
but,
interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Matt.
Okay, I walked out of. It was the sequel to Child's Play 2.
Wow.
I walked out before the movie started because when I walked in, there was apparently some sort of gang summit that was happening inside the theater.
Okay, well that had nothing to do with the
there
movie.
was a level of violence that I felt that was building. And I was like,
that was smart.
You know what? Let's go to the Revival House and see the Boatniks.
That's good. All right, here's another one. Who was the sexiest Bond girl?
Man, that's hard.
That's tough too.
Very tough.
Anyone got one right off the bat?
Ursula Andress.
Yes.
I'd say, maybe between Diana Rigg and Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour's pretty. She's up there.
Yeah.
Maud Adams from Octopussy.
Yeah, and
she's actually one of the only ones. She was in 2 Bond films.
That's
she had a smaller role.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
Caroline Munro.
Oh,
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, no, it's a smaller part, but yeah.
No, okay.
Courtney?
Eva Green.
Eva Green.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay, good. Okay, here's another one. Number 3. What big ticket memorabilia item which you bought do you regret the most?
I wonder who wrote this one.
Whoa.
It's not me.
You mean actual memorabilia item?
No.
Not like a
look,
toy.
This is not my
like
writing. This is not my writing.
I don't know who that is.
You know what? I
That's
think
not
this
me.
might be John Mattis.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
It looks
So
like
this
his
is like a
napkins.
Or
this is like an actual like piece of memorabilia from a movie or something, not like just a reproduction or a toy or something.
well, okay.
Big, does it have to? It has to be big ticket though.
Well,
but
big
I don't-
ticket. Okay. So, for me, I'm trying to get all the autographs from people who were in Creature from the Black Lagoon. And somebody had something, they said it was signed by Jack Arnold, the director.
Mhm.
And even on the picture, it looked like it was Jack Arnold. And I, why do you do that? Do you want to make me feel? Now, look, here's the thing. So I pay a few bucks for it. I get it. And John Agar's autograph is there.
Right.
And then there's a little Jack A. And this research I've done, they said that he typically wrote Jack A. But when I try to bend it and I try to look at it carefully, it's hard to see if it was actually written with a pen or printed. I can't tell. So I need to get it to an expert. So that's I think it may not be. So
Maybe it was actually Arnold Jacks who signed it.
or
Yeah.
somebody I don't know. I have to take it to an autograph expert. But
Yes, I don't have any big ticket actual memorabilia. And if I did, I don't regret having anything. So I don't really have an answer for that.
Well,
about
then
small
you're
ticket?
safe, Sean. You're safe. You feel better now,
I do. Yes.
aren't you? Oh, you're all better now.
Yeah.
I tell you.
How about-
Larry, that loser buys the Jack Arnold thing.
Well, all right. How about smaller ticket?
Sure.
And this is one of those collector shows. I don't know what was going through my head because in my mind, I knew that Stymie from the Little Rascals was dead. There was a part of me that knew this. But apparently in this moment, I somehow forgot because I look at this table and there's a guy who I swear is fucking Stymie. Right?
Wow.
Did you have like a thing on a patch saying "I'm Stymie"?
He looked like Stymie. He looked like Stymie, and he had a bunch of pictures of Stymie.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I'm like, well, maybe I imagined that. Maybe he didn't die, right? So I don't even ask any questions. I have a Stymie picture. This guy signs it, and I give him whatever, $20 or something.
Yeah.
And I walk away, and it's not Stymie, of course. It's Stymie's brother,
Oh.
Bobby Beard.
Oh.
Who I guess played his younger brother Cotton in the show.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
But so I walk away and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. And then I look back at the table and it, like almost like in small print, it's like Stymie's brother. Stymie in big print and then his brother in very tiny print,
Man, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah,
Come
but
on.
I don't know what the fuck went through my head because I knew he was dead. But but for a minute I was like, oh, I guess he's alive again. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I love the Rankin Bass holiday specials, and on eBay I saw that someone was selling, from Rudolph's Shiny New Year, Father Time, played by Red Skelton, and I could have sworn that it was for a figurine or a reproduction of a figure of that character. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool, and the price was reasonable. Well, it turns out it was a 4x6 snapshot of the model of the doll.
Perfect.
What fucking bummer, man. So I reached out to the vendor and it's like, is this what it's supposed to be? And he said, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, oh man, okay.
Was it advertised as a photo?
Not adequately enough. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Because there are times where I go back and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And then it's like,
Right.
I'm the idiot. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Buyer beware.
All right. Okay. So where are we at now?
Well, Courtney.
Oh, no, usually, guys, we don't like to ask for autographs of people that we work with and stuff, but I kind of gotten over that a little bit. And, if I run into them, I'll say, yeah, we did such and such together.
Right.
Anyway, I did a movie with Daniel Baldwin.
Okay.
And first of all, yes, I hope he hears he's a tool. And so anyway, I'm at one of the Hollywood collector shows, and there he is. And you often run into the people like Erica Liniak was there, and I did a thing with her, and she is just so nice. She was just terrific. Anyway, I went over to Dan Baldwin's table and reintroduced myself and everything. And I actually had a still from the movie that we worked on, and I had him sign it and everything else. And generally, I mean, I'm fine with paying for it and whatever, but very often they just give it to me.
Right.
Dan Baldwin looks at me. First of all, he didn't look at me at all. He signed his name while he was looking at his computer, his laptop.
Jeez.
So he just scrawls his name on here. And I go, oh, okay, thanks. What is it? $40.
Oh,
wow.
Yes.
And he didn't even look up at you? And
I did not even look up. No.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's lame.
That was really lame.
You need to earn your way into the $40 class. You know?
Yeah, really.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you say we go for one more, huh?
All right.
One more?
Sure.
One more. The last one.
Make it a good one.
It's an old one. Greatest kids show theme ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I got
Go.
one for sure.
Go.
Yeah.
Someone
Land
jump in.
of, Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost. That's mine too. I totally agree, Sean.
Never get tired of hearing that.
No, my daughter, I taught that to my daughter when she was 5.
And the visuals that go with it, the whole credit sequence,
and
fantastic.
yes, and we would act out. We would do the whole theme song, and we would even do the end where, Dinosaur turns around and goes, "Rawr!" At the end, we always had that every time we sang the song. Greatest. Yep.
It's good.
I would say Banana Splits.
That's true. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Anyone
Well,
else?
if we can go animated, Spider-Man.
Great.
Great one. Absolutely.
Have you heard the Ramones version of that?
Yeah, that's awesome. They're perfect to do.
Yeah,
So
they're great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
by the
heard
way,
that.
Larry,
yes,
recently saw Rock and Roll High School for the first time.
it's true for the first time.
And he loved it.
I did. I was actually
Of
very,
course.
very surprised. And I was also surprised. I didn't realize that the remote. I mean, they're in through the whole thing.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Yeah, they
I was
are.
surprised. I only thought they were going to be in a couple places. I had no idea they're going to. And Matt, you were telling me about some of them couldn't really do lines or something.
Yeah,
And
Dee Dee had some trouble. Especially. Apparently they were all very shy. And
Wow.
Really.
and
you can't.
it was
tell.
amazing because like the other actors thought, hey, these punk rock guys are going to be, and they weren't. They were very shy, and until they got on stage.
Yes.
And wasn't the story was like they didn't want to do the movie at first, but then Corman said, "Oh, you get to blow up the school at the end." Like, okay, we're in.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
Something
that.
like that. I thought I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I know that they wanted to get Cheap Trick initially.
Yes, that was
okay,
original.
right.
Originally,
Right. Interesting.
Okay.
Courtney,
Courtney,
give us
Take
one,
us out.
buddy.
No lyrics, Johnny Quest.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Great one.
Love that theme.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
And
I
isn't
got
there
the CD around here someplace.
a
Yeah,
pterodactyl?
I have it too. Yeah.
There's a pterodactyl sound.
Is there?
somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah.
That's Turu the Terrible.
That's
Yes,
right.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another show that, man, if they did a live action movie, but make it takes place in the 60s when that cartoon was. If they did it right with like Jean Favreau or somebody who like loved Johnny Quest and did it right, that could be a great movie or series.
That fan film, the claymation version of the title sequence.
Yeah, with the board game thing.
No, it's just on YouTube. Have you ever seen somebody reproduced the entire title sequence in claymation? It's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I gotta see this.
That's a solid show.
Oh yeah, just dial it up on YouTube. It is great.
Yeah.
And in that show, the monsters were real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a good blend of sci-fi and action and horror.
Horror
You had
and
a mummy in it. You had,
Oh, that mummy's breaking through the wall.
Oh, I love that mummy.
So cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Ambiguous
Well,
relationships.
Hey, Courtney, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Free
Thank
for all.
you.
This is
I
like
mean,
my
always a
favorite
delight.
thing in the world, you
But-
guys.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Sean
You're
was
perfect for
right.
it.
Sean was right. I mean, you brought so much to this. I mean, how you knew. some
I was
people-
right too.
Well, okay, but it's just
We're
been an
all
absolute.
right.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's been a thrill to have you on tonight's show.
So
It has.
I'm sure,
Very
Courtney,
much.
I'm sure you have tons of stuff going on. What are some of the things that we can look forward to that's coming up in the near future from the world of Courtney Joyner?
Well, some like new movies and things I've done commentaries on. We just did the Sherlock Holmes Vault collection for Film Detective. And
Is this like the early, like not the
yeah, the
Universal?
Arthur Waltners and
Oh, wow.
all of that stuff. It really turned out beautifully well. Let's see, we did. I'm on Monster from Green Hell. That's also from Film
Nice.
Detective,
Oh,
talking about Jim Davis. And then from Imprint, I did the Naked Jungle commentary with Justin Humphreys,
nice.
who's a George Bell expert. And then also we're in a documentary about Byron Haskin that's on the disc for
Ooh,
Conquest
wow.
of Space.
Nice.
And yeah, and I'm on the disc for Marooned, and then
James Caan, right?
the Richard Crenna,
Oh, I'm thinking,
Gregory
what's
Peck.
You're thinking Countdown, the Robert
Countdown?
Countdown,
I get Countdown and Maroon mixed up.
Yeah, I always mix
Countdown,
them too,
Robert
yeah.
Altman, Marooned
Right.
is John Sturgis,
Okay.
and some more westerns are coming up, and for like a big regular movie, I did the commentary with Henry Park on Extreme Prejudice.
Ooh,
Wow.
nice.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Always keep 'em busy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been once again just such a pleasure. We have to do like a spin-off show with just you.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
But I say we raise our glasses and
Yes.
toast
Absolutely.
Those.
to see Courtney Joyner.
Oh, good
Hey.
Lord.
And topic free for all.
And the Annihilation.
Annihilation. Don't forget Annihilation.
Now, take a drink and annihilate yourself.
Yeah.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
Annihilate the shout out.
Shout out the annihilation.
Guys, we have a new review on iTunes.
Nice.
This comes from Rockin' Mule, who
Rockin' Mule.
writes Rockin' Mule, and the title is Buds. Buds.
I
But
like it when people are familiar with us, like we are just right off the
Yes.
bat, they're friends.
We are
Like-
everybody's buddy.
Like the short for buddy.
Yeah.
Yes, Larry.
That would be it.
Okay.
You
So he
should be a
writes-
detective.
He writes, imagine, if you will, sitting in a room with four of your buddies talking all things horror and sci-fi. Sounds great, doesn't it? I never really had friends growing up who were into the horror scene, but here I am now at 63 years of age, and I found just that.
Nice.
Four buddies I can hang around with and listen as they discuss and sometimes argue about all of the things I grew up with. Be it movies or toys, these guys cover so much in a very comfortable format. Sometimes when my wife goes to bed, she's also not a genre fan, I will pop open a beer and feel like I'm hanging with my buds.
Hey.
That's what we try to do.
And yes, I know that sounds lonely and pathetic.
No, it's not,
No,
man.
no, no, no.
But it's
You know
just
what?
so
Drinking alone, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
but it's just so true, especially in these crazy pandemic times, to be able to shut all that off for an hour or two is refreshing.
Mm.
Thanks, Matt, Larry, James, and Sean.
Nice.
Aw,
That's great.
Thank
really
you,
nice.
Rock and Mule. Really
really does.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I mean, in theory, this is exactly how it's the kind of feedback that we love, that we always thought, like any of our listeners, I think that we feel like we could just kind of sit with and immediately be fast friends. We can talk about all of these topics and have things to contribute. And
yeah, and that's why we do it. I mean, for us amongst ourselves, because, it's true. Like we're stuck at home, and it's like you can't go out much and do things these days. It's like
right.
Still for us to be able to get together this way, at least, and do this, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
With all sincerity, this thing really has been a lifesaver. Monster Party has done so much to, keep me sane.
Yeah.
And, give me laughs,
Yeah.
So we hear you.
Thank you, Rock and Mule.
Hey guys, do you remember a while back we had John Stanley, host of Creature Features, on our show?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me think about that.
That was such a
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was such a great show, and it was really a dream come true to have like one of my idols on
He
the
was
show.
so great.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember, he talked about this book of his that was coming out, The Career That Dripped Horror. Well, guys, it has just been released.
Nice.
And it's the sequel to his book. I Was a TV Horror Host. And this new book has over 800 photos in it. It's got all kinds of great little stories and anecdotes and stories about a lot of the guests that he had on. And it's just, I already ordered mine. And if you order now, you can actually get an autographed copy.
Oh, nice.
So you can go to stanleybooks.net. It's only about like $24, or you can go to the Creature Features TV show website and you can go there and find it. But I just want to let you know, Stanley's book is out and I can't wait to get it. So
me too.
Go get it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And speaking of books, friend of the show, past guest, Dan Brereton, artist supreme.
Yes.
He's got a new book out. He's doing a Kickstarter for it that's going until the 14th of February. And the book is called By the Blade.
By the Blade.
By the Blade. And it is a 124-page hardcover celebrating sword slingers and she-wolves, Ronin and Reavers, and masters of blade and battle.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes, right. The art book is Dan's tribute to sword and sorcery, samurai chambara, weird tales and heroic fantasy, and of course, his deep love and dedication to all things monstrous. Hey, kindred spirit.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
By the Blade features many new pieces from the last 2 years, including work he's adding right up to the minute.
Cool.
Dan's By the Blade campaign ends on Valentine's Day, when our heroes either find true love or die bloody and dismembered on the battlefield.
How romantic.
So if you want this book, go to the Kickstarter and do it now, because you need to get this in before Valentine's Day. And of course, it makes a great Valentine's Day gift.
Oh.
For a very special lady.
And for fans of Stephen King, I will do a little shout out to myself. I have been interviewed on a Stephen King podcast called Derry Public Radio.
Hey.
Derry Public Radio, all about the making of my student film, The Lawnmower Man. And that is just dropped that episode. So check it out. Derry Public Radio podcast.
Very cool.
Oh, we will check it out.
And let's let all of our listeners know that Monster Party merch is still available on our eBay store. That is Monster Party Store on eBay. Easy to remember. We still have classic Monster Party logo glow-in-the-dark t-shirts.
In large,
which is a good size.
It's a good size. It really is.
It's like a free-for-all. It's like all larges all the time.
And this is your, get into your large weight. It's like people always talk about bikini season.
Yeah.
It's Monster Party t-shirt season.
Right.
The Monster Party cloth PPE face mask is still also available. And sadly, it is still also useful right now.
Yes.
So you definitely want to get that. And if you're a Patreon member, then we will throw in extra goodies courtesy of Jason Lindsay at Biff Bang Pow Toys and creature maker extraordinaire Ted Haynes.
Oh my God.
Two
wonderful people.
That's right.
So what is this Patreon? Well, what's that all about, Matt?
Well, Patreon is a platform where if you join, you have access to all these bonus materials that we provide. that are
Wow.
Monster Party related. And some of them maybe not directly Monster Party related, like my stepfather-in-law has been editing these collections of short stories. And so we've gotten some of those and we put them up and they're there for your enjoyment. We also have special shows like Monster Party Masterpieces,
Oh,
Larry's Toy Time, where you get to see his collection, just really fun stuff, an interview with Dr. Z. So there's a lot of stuff there that you can get. And we also have a lot of other special audio episodes that you can access.
That's right.
It's a good time and it's a perfect supplement to this podcast.
And from the vault, we have footage from our 2015 trip to Japan.
That's correct.
Which has been sitting in the vault all these years. And it reminds me a little bit of like the Beatles Get Back, because you've got this footage that's been sitting there. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but we've got hours of this footage. And it's been fascinating, even for us, I think, to look at again.
It's been so fun because, the great thing is when you watch that hour episode on YouTube, Monster Party Goes to Japan, it's condensed and you basically hear our podcast as we describe everything that you see. But with these videos that James has been editing for us, you get to hear what we're saying. And I forgot about all the stuff that we talked about. And it's just been so much fun to relive. And I think you'll find it very enjoyable.
Yeah. And it's like I'm reliving it as I watch it.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So great. So wonderful job, James.
Thank you. All of this content, all of this value. I mean, it sounds like this would be an extremely expensive proposition to subscribe to.
$5 a month.
No.
Holy shit.
$5 a month. Yeah.
The hell you say?
Yes. All that stuff that we just mentioned, $5 a month.
You can't buy a fake lobby card for that price, man.
You know how much fake movie memorabilia is going for these days?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Well,
only $5.
That's a true bargain.
I'll say.
So how does one subscribe to such a thing?
All you got to do is go to patreon.com, go to Monster Party, click the join button, follow the instructions, and you are in, baby.
Boom.
And let's remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, on Twitter and Instagram at Monster Party HQ. And hey, on whatever platform you're listening to us, please take a moment, write a review. We would love to hear your thoughts and we will read it on the air.
And what we're going to do is we're going to get all those reviews and put them in a skull. And then
and just
one
read them
out
all
randomly.
Yeah.
Review free for all.
Wow.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And start counting the days until the next topic free-for-all.
And guys, how about that Ruth Buzzy, man?
Ruth Buzzy. Ruth Buzzy.
It's getting hot in here.
Courtney. Oh, so great to see you, man. Look at you and your collection.
Invite. Gee whiz.
Oh,
there's his collection, Larry. Start knocking it.
I know. No. He has a very nice collection. He has a very, very nice collection. It's a wonderful collection.
It took him a long way to get to this place where he could look at somebody else's and not try to find the thing that was wrong with it. So, his was the best.
It's funny. It's one of those things where it's like it's like you see someone's collection and you think it's amazing, it's awesome, and then you start to try to pick it apart. Well, wait, does he have that?
See, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
I don't do
that, Larry.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, on the inside, I think it's still happening.
We talked a little while ago about bitterness and anger and
just
stuff
a little while ago.
Yeah. It seems like it's a topic on every episode, but
yeah, hey, we're working through stuff. We're growing.
The guy who sold all the the phony posters a couple of years ago and ended up going to federal prison.
Oh, I don't know that story.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
This was a huge deal. In fact, I was one of the victims. I bought a 3-sheet on linen, a man-made monster from him that was phony.
Really?
Do you know the guy? Wait, do you know the guy's name? Because I'm wondering if I bought something.
I'm trying to remember. He was in Georgia.
Oh.
But it got so bad, the FBI got involved because he had sold some phony pieces to the Library of Congress and everything else.
Yes.
But what his undoing is he sold, I believe it was a phony forged window cards to Mark of the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And like one, and I probably have the people wrong. One went to like Joe Dante and the other went to like John Landis.
Okay. And
he forgot that one of the great things about collecting is you call your friends and make them feel like shit because they don't have this.
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that, really.
Yeah, and so of course they called each other and said, "Oh, guess what I just got? Oh, wait, I got the same thing," and that's kind of what blew the whole thing up.
Oh, wow!
I love coming in on a conversation with Courtney, and it's about a fake loving card to Mark of the Vampire. Perfect. Welcome.
Welcome.
Good to see you, Courtney.
Welcome.
Hey, Courtney. How's your book coming, Sean?
It's coming very slow, very slow, but it is. Thank you for asking. Yes, it'll be done someday.
I have.
I'm just working like crazy now, but yes, no, thank you. It's I'm glad thank you for remembering. Yes, you had very good tips. So yes, thank you,
Courtney.
And you didn't ask about my book
or my book,
my tell-all book. Monster Party Uncovered.
After dark.
What goes on between the sheets?
Oh my gosh! Yes, it's like you go into the sheets and you see I've got like a little glow in the dark figure going. Look at it! Look.
Must you ruin everything?
Oh wait! Come on! Who didn't do that? You hold up something.
It's what happens when the recording turns off.
Did you guys? I don't know, Matt. I don't think it was. Were you the one who posted that brilliant thing on Facebook?
No,
about women and six figures.
I don't think that was me.
6 figures on Monster Party.
Wonderful posting, and it was this picture of these 3 gorgeous women with these fantastic come hither expressions, and it said, "What women look like when you tell them you bring home 6 figures a month." It's the Metaluna mutant and the sideshow white zombie.
Right.
Awesome.
I remember seeing that. Yeah, that was great.
Nice.
That was great. I heard, it's so funny you should say that. I mean, who amongst us doesn't have, significant others when someone says, "So how much was that you bought?" And you say something like, you go $4.50, and they're thinking, "Oh, $4.50." They don't know that it's actually $450 or something like that.
Why?
God bless my wife. God bless my wife for being the one who says no. Because we've been able to weather rough times because of that. And let's face it, you can't always get what you want.
But come on, there are some things like, look, if you were destitute on the street, like, but I gotta buy that figure, you have to have it. No matter what.
Some things you have to have.
What your financial situation is like, oh my God, I cannot go on.
I can't wait to see the box you live in when you're homeless. Like, it's the most badass man cave homeless box.
Yeah. Like Mego figures all lined up.
Yeah, you're like, you've used stuff that you find to make a case, and
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's going to be great. You on the side of the freeway trying to get money for fucking
but I have to have a power source. But I have to have a power source so I can plug in the Blu-ray to like have my little TV and watch.
Oh,
stuff.
You'll figure out.
Oh, the sun. You get one of those little portable. Use the sun.
Good luck with that.
Sean. I was about to say to you. Well, Sean, as I've gotten older, I realized that I don't have to have every figure that comes out. I realize
You
can. But Sean, it wasn't it I who told you, oh, those Mars Attacks figures, they're so cool. And I bought 2 of each of them because, come on, burning flesh, destroying a dog. Yes.
Guys.
Yes.
I looked at them.
Yes.
And I like the burning dog stuff. And I like, for people who like those type of figures, they're beautiful. Not really for me. They're not. See, that's my problem with some of those figures. They are not. Really? They are not detailed enough. They're not. All right. Yeah. I like a more detailed figure.
Okay, that's good. Well, James, I know what you're getting for Christmas then, because somebody that doesn't want them, then
I appreciate them on the card. On the card as a presentation.
That is, the whole presentation works.
That is how it works. But as a figure alone, not as much.
But if someone got it for a birthday gift, you're not going to go, poo, I don't like this. I'm going to toss this, or I'm going to sell it.
I'm not even saying, I'm not saying even that I don't like it, and that I do like them. But as a figure, we're talking just the figure now, not the presentation, because those figures, those reaction figures, you have to keep them on the card, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the whole deal.
Yeah.
It's a whole presentation thing. But
tonight's topic: love-hate relationships with toys.
Oh goodness!
Which did you
ultimately we love?
Was that Courtney?
Did you see that really nice Scars of Dracula figure that was on Facebook all day long?
I've seen that somewhere.
Yes,
it's pretty amazing.
Is it custom?
$45, and I guess it was about a foot high, but that was really nice.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, I just bought 2 Mego figures of Frankenstein meets the space monster.
Oh,
wow. Was that a Brent Stalls?
Yes, it was. And they're fucking beautiful.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're amazing. Nobody else is going to put that out. Like, I think years ago, Monstars were planning to put out 12 inches and they never did. It's hey, they're amazing.
You know what I got from Brent Stalls, which I thought was brilliant, was I got they put out a figure of, remember the Planet of the Apes gun and mask?
I've seen that.
Set?
Yes.
And everybody wanted them. Yeah, he reproduced them, but he did another thing before that, which was a figure of a kid wearing the mask.
Yeah, no, he put a bunch of he put a series of like Cooper.
Ben Cooper.
Like
Ben Cooper style, little Mego figures of kids wearing the costumes.
Okay,
I love that. I love that figure so much.
Yeah,
but I have a little controversy, guys. There's this guy in another country. His name is Alexander. I think it's Jeff Dick, and he created these figures with it's like kids Ben Cooper costumes with the masks and the outfits, and they look fantastic. And so I've been in touch with him, and he did these beautiful creatures once for me. The guys at Brent Dolls, they reached out to this guy to find out how was he making the costumes. And they came out with a version of what Alexander's been doing, but they don't look as good. And I just spoke with him on Facebook, and he's pissed, Oh, yeah. Yes, he said, they're trying to. He goes, they think I'm stupid. They don't think I'm, I'm doing something
that's right. FBI.
Yeah.
Well, it's
infighting between the custom.
The custom. Yes. And look, I don't want to get into it because I think some of the stuff at Brett Stalls is cool.
And it was amazing at the productivity of it. Like seems to be putting out a new figure every couple of weeks. Like it's crazy.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and some of the stuff I'm not crazy about. Some stuff is like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Yeah, there's an Inframan set that he put out.
There's Inframan, cool. and the Skull. Inframan henchman
Skull Warrior,
yeah, which are both great. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Courtney.
Who put out it wasn't Mego just put out the Peter Cushing skull figure?
What? Really? From the skull?
Yes,
I think I saw that.
Yes, in his
holding the skull,
smoking jacket, and he's got the skull, and he's got the dagger.
Crazy. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I have to look for that.
I gotta look. Yeah, that one I gotta look up.
Courtney,
cool.
do you look at this sometime and go, gosh, this is such a wonderful time to be alive, I mean, did you ever think?
A
little teeny, maybe that little
couple
teeny
caveats.
area, but for the most part, no.
Good time to live in Canada.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, we should start going with this.
speaking of
Let's
Canada,
go.
so Courtney, do you know
Speaking of Canada.
do you know how we do this thing, right?
Yeah, Courtney, you've never done a topic free for all, right? Or have you?
I never
No.
have. No, this
Okay,
is my
I got it.
first.
All right, cool. This is gonna be good.
So, Sean, did you want to give him a
No, go
overview,
ahead.
or
Go ahead. Yeah.
So thank you for sending me those little questions. It's great short little things where instead of going into long detailed things, these are like quick questions where you can't do a whole show on them.
You could,
Yeah,
but
some
why?
of them may, but
yeah.
and so these are quick little questions that we all participate on, and thank you for sending yours. And
Yes.
I've got them in here, and so what I do is shake it, I'll pull them out and take one out, and I'll read it, and then
And
we
we'll
go
do
to
like
town.
a little brief discussion of
Okay, great.
each one and move
Yeah.
on. So
We used to hire a fashion model to do the pulling of the
yeah.
questions, the topics, but now Larry is doing it, and he brings his own savoir-faire to this.
Well,
Sure.
it's COVID. If I brought a model, that means she's going to sit next to me, and
With
I
a
don't
mask
who,
on.
who
yeah.
wants
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I don't. Call me old-fashioned or
All right, you
bitter
are
and
old-fashioned.
angry, and
As,
Yes.
check all the boxes. All right.
But hey, I'm ready to do this.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Let's
Yes,
do it.
do it.
Cool.
All right.
So is this? What are we calling this though?
The last one was Wrath of Topic Free for All. So why don't we call
Okay.
this what?
We should call it
The Annihilation.
You wanna call it-
Yes.
Topic
The
Free for All, the Annihilation.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's do it. Okay, ready?
Okay. Yes.
Well, I just let me write this down for a second.
What?
The Annihilation.
Annihilation. The
Okay, I'm ready.
Annihilation.
When I was a
That's
little,
the
when I was a little kid, I thought it was pronounced annihilate. I would go around saying that.
By the way, I'm sorry, I don't want to delay this anymore, but you made me laugh so much when you were talking about the show The Veil,
Oh yeah,
and you called it
Yeah.
The Veal,
yeah. The veal cutlet.
because it then
With
made me
Boris
want a
Karloff.
show hosted by Boris Karloff called The Veal. And there are all horror stories about veal.
That is pretty good. You get
Yeah, PETA could, sponsor.
Yeah.
it. Okay, here we go. All right.
All right.
Mark PETA. Okay, here we go.
Our good friend.
Our good friend,
Right.
Mark PETA. We love him.
And James, you're going to do Courtney's
You're
introduction.
going to do the thing. Okay.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Topic
So
free
Courtney,
for all, the
don't
annihilation.
don't say anything until James introduces you,
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Okay. Ready? Here we go.
and you're going to make it big and exciting, right, James?
No, he's not. No, he's
Don't have
going
to
to
say that
whisper
ever,
it.
Larry.
You know how
Really?
whisper acting is really popular now? That's what he's going to do. He's going to mumble it because that's what's hip. That's what the kids want. Okay.
I'm
Here
gonna
we
sing
go.
it. I'm gonna sing it like Billie Eilish.
Oh,
she's
okay.
good.
All right. Well, okay.
Okay.
That's different, but
All
don't
right.
mumble.
Okay. Here we go.
That was
So
great.
good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks.
thank you.
Thanks
That was
again,
so
Courtney.
much fun.
We had there were like no duds in there. Like we all
No.
picked.
No, they're
sometimes
all
they pick
good.
like we don't. But that was great.
Oh, good job.
Larry,
Got more
Larry
in the
kind of going, yeah,
skull for next
okay. Yeah. I wanted
Yeah.
Spanish horror instead of Mexican, but
Yeah. Well,
that's
what are
okay.
you gonna do?
Well,
we can't all be brilliant. We can't all have.
But we can
Perfect.
strive.
we're
for
damn
moves.
close.
That's right. So we keep America strong,
Keep America strong.
and maybe Matt, you should say start counting the days, and
Until
I'll
next-
say.
yeah.
And I'll say the Ruth Buzzy line, and then we all go, ooh,
And
right?
then we'll all go, ooh, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Is
it. I love it.
is she still alive?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I
Yeah.
certainly hope so.
No, I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet from her just like 2 weeks ago. And
Oh,
it's a
okay. Yes,
joke.
she
It was
is.
a joke. It said,
I'm still hot.
I'm still alive.
I like to steal kitchen accessories, but it's worth the whisk.
Ah.
Ah.
Wow. I think
I'm like,
I think you found your perfect woman.
I know.
Yeah,
Not only
I think you should Ruth Buzz her.
She was born July 24th,
I'm just looking at IMDb.
1936. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
still alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to
Well,
lose I'd like to lose my saucer in her. I'll tell you that.
when she passes, we'll be ruthless.
Oh.
Oh.
That's good. I like that.
That's good.